Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
100% ready to go. It's been a long time coming, and I just can't wait to be out there. That's why I play football in the SEC, trying to go get it done.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies. It might be the first time I've seen this stat, maybe one other time since I've been here at TexAgs. It's been 3.5 years. But I feel like this is the first time that I've seen this stat that feels sustainable. OB, did you see the stat a couple days ago online? A&M and Tennessee, only two SEC teams with teams in the top 15 in football, basketball, and baseball.
No, I hadn't seen that.
Tennessee and A&M are the two.
The two that played for the national championship in baseball. Yeah.
Both have a very good basketball program.
Very good basketball. And should have a really good, both should have really good teams this year.
Feels sustainable. Like maybe it happened for a brief moment last year, maybe. I'm trying to think. A&M did open up the season basketball-wise last year, I think 13. Does that sound right?
They were
that
ranked
range?
pretty high, yeah.
Football by this point last year was probably already had their 2 losses.
Yeah. Because they always lose the second game under Jimbo. And yeah, I'm sure they were out of it.
So, but this one feels sustainable.
It does.
For all of football season?
Yeah, why not? I've said that nothing's guaranteed, obviously, but I believe, and we've talked about this, I believe A&M will be favored in every game moving forward until they play Texas. And we'll see how that evolves. But still got to win those games, obviously, and it's not going to be easy. And the basketball team, there's no reason not to have high expectations for this basketball team. And the baseball team, I mean, we're looking way ahead, but they'll probably be ranked number 1 to start the season.
So I saw that, who was it? Somebody had A&M as the 7th best. Who was that? Was it Kendall Rogers' site, D1 Baseball? I think Kendall Rogers' site had A&M as the 7th best baseball program. I don't think that was a ranking. I think it was more, thank you, Nick, of where they stand as a baseball program.
Not for this season, but as a
I believe overall,
baseball program as a whole.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, that's fair. Could be better, should be better, probably will be better. Look, A&M is right now doing what A&M should always do. And we've talked about this before. You got all the resources financially, geographically, support-wise to be a elite program in every sport. Yep. And right now, it appears that they're trending that way.
TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. He's Olin Buchanan. I'm David Nuño. I'm going to steal a topic that I just heard on Sirius Satellite with Danny Cannell, Dusty and Danny, okay? And it was a question asked to the guy from Next Round. I forget his name, Jim Dunaway, I believe it is. And the question was, who do you think will get, the way he phrased it was something to the effect of, who do you think will get their second loss first, A&M or Missouri, or who's closer to getting their second loss, okay? And the way Jim answered it was that he believes in A&M more than he believes in Missouri, which I think,
well,
why wouldn't you, right? But the question, if you actually ask it in that, Missouri's got one really hard game left on their schedule. A&M has at least 2 left on their schedule. Like when I say really hard, like top 10, top 15.
Top 15, right? You got LSU and Texas, and going to Starkville, as bad as they are, has always been an issue for A&M, and going to Columbia, South Carolina is no cakewalk.
Missouri this week, I believe they're in Auburn, if I remember correctly, and then they have Alabama in a week or 2, okay? I think it may be next week. Outside of that Alabama game, I don't know where more losses are going to happen. Now, of course, it is the SEC. It's a tricky league. Things happen. That's not what I'm forecasting. I'm not going to predict, well, maybe this team could lose to this team, but this team won't lose to that same kind of team, even though they're the same level of team. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, if you were to look at it, Missouri should have an easier path to 10-2 than Texas A&M.
Well, that was apparent at the beginning of the year.
Very beginning
we looked
of the
at the season based on last year's records. Missouri had the least challenging schedule in the SEC.
So if Missouri ended up 10-2 and A&M was 9-3, just for conversation's sake, I'm not sure Missouri gets into the playoffs. I don't think A&M gets into the playoffs at 9-3, but we'll have to see how the rest of the carnage happens. But I do think in that scenario, A&M would be more deserving than Missouri at 10-2 than 9-3. I
would agree, more deserving. I've never, I don't have any faith in committees, as you know. Yeah. And, that third loss, somebody will hold it against you. Now, it may depend on how, if you have 3 losses, it may depend on how they look.
Yeah.
If you, like LSU, beat Ole Miss in overtime, if you were to lose to LSU, and I don't think A&M will, but if you were in overtime in a great game, and people would remember, it could have gone either way. Yeah. And then if you lost to Texas and it was, again, another great competitive game, then maybe.
And it's interesting the way a season can change on one play. If Graham Mertz doesn't throw that touchdown late against Ole Miss, Ole Miss is right now, hey, we dodged a bullet. We are here with 1 loss. Everything's still in front of us. Now, they're like, technically they can get into it, but it feels like it's spiraling out of control.
Graham Mertz?
Sorry, not Graham Mertz.
You mean?
Yes, Nussmeier.
Nussmeier. Okay.
Garrett Nussmeier, sorry. Mertz is done for the year.
No. If Lane Kiffin would have kicked field goals on 4th down, Lane Kiffin just completely mismanaged that
which he does
game.
often.
Yeah. But in that game, it came back to bite him.
Yep.
If he had kicked field goals, and one time he did, and it wasn't a long one, and the kid who transferred from
Caden
here
Davis
missed one that was very makeable. I thought Ole Miss controlled that game.
Yep.
They never lost. LSU never led until they won.
Yesterday on the Aggie Football Happy Hour, Coach Elko spoke about beating Missouri. He says, you get into this profession and it's immediately next task. By the way, this speaks my language. I love this. You're still focused on 5 or 6 plays that you screwed up on to make sure you don't do that again. But it was a good day.
It was a great day. And I know what he's talking about. Look, I was just writing something for key matchups tomorrow. And did you know that A&M opponents, I'm going to say this right, A&M has allowed the lowest completion percentage of opponents, of any team in the SEC.
It's pretty darn good.
So it's 54.5% completion percentage against A&M. That's the lowest. But A&M, as you know, tends to give up the big play.
Yep.
Gave up a long one against Missouri for a touchdown. Another one for a touchdown was called back. A long one for 75-yard touchdown against Arkansas. I think Florida had completions of 39 and 38. So the one thing that Mississippi State seems to do really well.
Big plays.
Is big plays. They had an 80-yard touchdown pass against Arizona State. They had 2 long touchdown passes against Georgia, long touchdown passes against the team before that. So that's something, they still got to get that ironed out.
Well, I know this is a legitimate talking point about Texas A&M because if you take away the big plays, A&M's like winning every game in blowouts, right? Like, or maybe not a blowout against Notre Dame, but big plays are what have been their kryptonite. Mm-hmm. But some of the other teams in the SEC are prone to the big play as well.
Yeah, sure they are. But
Georgia's prone to the big play this year, which is interesting considering it's Georgia.
Right. But, we're looking at A&M, and I always watch A&M through the lens. We talked about this. Can this win a SEC championship? And like, for instance, what we saw against Missouri, I'm watching that team, and I'm saying that team can win an SEC championship.
That team, on that day, can beat anybody in the SEC.
Right. And there have been others, like even Arkansas, I saw glimpses of it, right?
Defensively,
I saw glimpses of it. But I think that if you can get to the point, look, you're always going to give up plays, but don't give up the big plays in volume, and especially in downs where they're
Right.
like the touchdown pass against Missouri. It was actually a good pass rush, and
There was holding on that play.
there was, but SEC is we can go back to
But a
Miles
lot
Garrett.
of
They don't hold it, and the DB got confused.
Yeah.
Right. So if the DB stays on Weiss, it's an incompletion. He just came off of him and went to Burden and left him
And
open.
that happens.
Iron those things out, and there's no telling how good this team can be.
Yeah, no doubt about that. The other thing that Coach, did you see any of the comments from yesterday's football hour?
I really didn't.
Okay,
I was
well,
so
good.
focused on basketball yesterday.
They asked him about the MVP on the team. Who do you think he said?
The team MVP, man, there's so many you can make a case for. How about Le'Veon Moss?
That's what he said.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did say. The other thing he said was, as for defense, I don't know if he called him the MVP, but he highlighted a player that we should be excited about.
Nick Gordon?
Well, I think we already know that guy. No, this is a name that I think we know shown Dalton Brooks.
Dalton Brooks. I've just wrote something about Dalton Brooks. Dalton Brooks we're watching him emerge as what we're seeing his first steps.
The maturation of greatness.
That's what I was trying to get at. The
Headline
maturation of greatness.
Headline Nuño. Thank you very much.
Yeah, maturation of greatness.
I love the way that sounds. I would like to have that as a headline for talk show host.
Maturation of greatness.
Well, it's going to take a while for me. All right, here's one that I want your opinion because he gave his.
Okay.
And you may differ, but in a way it'll be similar.
Okay.
Which position group is the most improved?
The most improved since last year or during the season?
The way it's written, position group that is most improved.
Well, if we're talking about during the season, I'm actually going to say, if we're talking about, since last year, I'm going to say the offensive line.
Yes, I would agree with you.
But if I'm saying from the beginning of the season to now, I might say the receivers.
Okay, well, that's not what he said.
Okay.
But I'm sure he's happy with the receivers because, again, I think we've seen in the last couple of games really come on, right? He says the DBs.
Okay.
DBs is the most, and then he says, where did he say about the offensive line? As far as development goes, it would be the offensive line. So the offensive line has developed the most, but the most improved position group he thinks is the defensive line. And there's not a wrong answer in that because
I just said that they have the lowest completion percentage against in the SEC, so they must be doing something right.
It was cold outside, wasn't it?
It's a bit chilly.
A little cold.
Yeah.
It matches where we are. We're in the holistic planning cool zone. You want to invest in a pro sports team?
The one I'd invest in, they're
out of your price range.
Yeah, they're out of my price range.
Yeah.
But what team would you invest in?
Well, a lot of the athletes are investing in the MLS, and I don't think that's a winning proposal. I'm going to invest in Texas A&M, which I know is illegal, but with the future of private equity firms, this is the place I would. The sleeping giant that's starting to wake up.
And if you wanted to do that, you would go to where?
Investinprosports.com. Holistic planning, investment, tax, real estate, and estate. Also, pro sports. Let's go around the room and say hi to the people. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. You can call us up on the Boss Firearms hotline, or you can text us on the Little Sluggers text line, 979-693-1150. We go behind the glass, and we talk to a very busy Nick Savage. Nick, good morning, buddy.
I wasn't really busy. I was just, oh, my man, I'm really loud. I wasn't busy. I was just talking to Kay back there, just making sure she was in line and all that good stuff. Yeah, I was pretty busy.
We interviewed Coach Turner, which is going to run part of it's going to run later on today. You're working on stuff behind the scenes. You are a busy, busy dude. All right, what's on your mind this morning?
Well, I was looking at some of the quotes from Coach Elko from yesterday as well, and he was talking about Mississippi State, says they're talented. They lit up Georgia. We saw that in the second half, and that can get your attention. And watching Jim Turner, like you mentioned, we'll get a little bit of him a little bit later, but they're decent up front. So I still think the Aggies will handle business in Starkville, but it's just crazy to the depth of this league this year. How going back to last year's game, A&M handled them. This year going to Starkville, we're like, I don't know, might not be as easy as it looks on paper.
Yeah, Nick highlighting what Coach Elko talked about with Mississippi State kind of lighting up Georgia in the second half. I'm not going to argue that. That's factual. What I might say that I don't feel like Georgia's secondary has been very good this year. And that doesn't mean that Mississippi State can't throw on A&M. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying we have the standard when we think of Georgia, and they're not reaching that standard at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think they're as good as they were last year, but at the same time, look, I'm not trying to make anybody feel better. I just believe this is to be the case. You get a big lead, and a lot of times you're not as focused. I think,
and the other team's throwing more.
I go back to the SEC championship game 2 years ago. Georgia had LSU beaten. It was over with, and Nussmeier comes in and throws for like 250, 300 yards. And everybody's like, how good he is. It was clear Georgia said, we got this one in hand. It's just not the same. Right. And I wonder if some of that wasn't going on. They had, a 24-point lead against Mississippi State?
Yep.
And I wonder if they didn't mentally check out just a little bit. That said, if they did, Mississippi State took advantage, and that's what you should do. And that just showed that they do have this big play, quick strike ability.
By the way, Aggies gather at the Angry Elephant, and that's where we find Juan Palomo. Juan, good morning, buddy. How you doing?
How are you guys?
I did a double.
Doing
How
good.
You doing?
Yeah, you did. It was pretty nice.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, pretty good, right?
I'm going to give it 86.
Okay. On Wednesday morning, it was announced that head football coach Mike Elko was named to the Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year watch list. The award is given each January to a college football coach recognizing contributions to the sport and their winning approach to coaching and life, both on and off the field.
The Bryant Awards, is that still in Houston? It used to be in Houston. I think it's...
That I do not know.
That I do not know.
I would think
either.
it would be out of Tuscaloosa, but I don't know.
Back in the day, they had it in Houston for a little bit, I believe. Maybe I'm making that up. What's next on your list?
Texas A&M Swimming and Diving welcomes BYU and TCU tomorrow for its home opener, a 2-day tri-meet at the Rec Center. The Aggies began their season a week ago at the SMU Classic, where they faced SMU, obviously. And number 16 women placed third, and the number 12 men placed fifth.
All right, good stuff there for swimming and diving. OB, let's hit a break and come back with your Heisman watch. And I want to see if maybe a young man from Boise State has moved up the list potentially. Maybe.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe he's in the same spot. Maybe. Hey, the fact that Boise State's still in the middle of the list in mid-season, I think it says something.
Oh, I think this kid...
he's no Jared Zabransky, though. Was that the kid, the quarterback's name?
The quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, Jared Zabransky. Look at that. It was at 2004 or 5.
That was
right?
a ways ago.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he was...
And then his teammate proposed, right? After the game.
Ian Johnson?
I think that's right.
Ian Johnson?
Didn't he propose
after the Oklahoma game, when
Yeah.
they won the bowl game, and the girl didn't know that it was coming, and then the, I guess the sideline reporter kind of blew it and said,
Yeah, I remember it. Look at that memory here on TexAgs Live. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll do the Heisman watch. Right now, Prize Picks. Do you want to make some money? Do you want to enjoy sports more than you already do? If you're watching this show, that means you love sports or you just love Olin Buchanan, or maybe it's both. Either way, I want you to make some money by enjoying sports, by playing daily fantasy sports with our good friends there at Prize Picks. The website is prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. You're going to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And here's the deal. It's you against the number. So you get to pick 2 to 6 player stat projections. I have not looked at today's. I'm sure Matthew Dawson will send us some of those numbers. But maybe it says Connor Wigman more than XYZ or less than XYZ. I'm going more than, because Mississippi State isn't good at stopping the passing game. And I think Carson Beck last week threw for like 450 or 405, something like that.
I think it's 439?
439. There you go. So I'm saying more than with Connor. Whatever the number is, more than, book it right now. Doesn't matter. You can do it yourself for Connor, Noah. You can do other sports, other games. Their website is prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs. Get those $50 once you play in $5 lineups and make that paper.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggie Land Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Lucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggie Land Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggie Land Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan, or go to AggieLandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Lucci sent you by.
Welcome back in TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. It is time for the Heisman Watch, brought to you by Shirtlift Law Firm. Hunter's a friend of our company and a friend of mine. He took me shooting yesterday. We did shotgun shooting and 12 gauge. Yeah, I know the terms now. I actually knew that. But we went shooting clay yesterday just to get me ready.
Clay?
Yeah, Clay Taylor. I shot him
my gosh,
in the knee.
I hope he's okay.
He's fine. He didn't keep attacking me with a knife. It was just straight to the knee. But anyway, he took me out there to shoot, and it was a great time. It was like, and I was actually better at it than I mean, I wasn't good, but I was better. Like, I actually hit Clay. I hit Clay Taylor many times.
And that's not easy to do because he's kind of a skinny guy.
Well, he moves around.
Yeah.
You got to predict where it's going. Like, how do you know? Clay,
he's a
stop
moving
running.
target.
Anyway, we had a great time. The Heisman Watch brought to you by Shirtlift Law Firm. Okay, OB. Let's get to your list, shall we?
Number 5. Have you ever heard of Caleb Johnson?
Well, I thought it was a country singer. Not Cody Johnson, but no, he's, you told me earlier, the Iowa running back.
Iowa running back. He makes the list. He rushed for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns last week in a victory over Washington. He's now, again, second in the nation in rushing. He's gained 937 yards and is averaging 7.94 yards per attempt.
So, Obi, I'm going to ask this question. And maybe you don't remember, and if you don't, it's okay. We can look it up later. I feel like there's 2 new names on the list. That means 2 people fell off. Is that right? Or just one guy fell off?
Just one.
Okay.
And I'm trying to remember who it was. Jackson Dart?
Milroe.
Oh, Milroe. Yeah.
Jalen Milroe. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, number 4, do you think...
Was he on the list last week?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was 5 last week. Do you think Ohio State misses Kyle McCord? The Syracuse quarterback. He transferred to Syracuse from Ohio State, and now he's averaging 360.
Do I think Ohio State misses him? I don't think they hate their current quarterback situation, but I think they wouldn't mind having him. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he's averaging 360 yards per game, and that ranks second in the nation.
If I remember correctly, did he not mesh with Chip Kelly, or maybe he left before Chip Kelly joined? But there was something about
before.
That.
Yeah. Okay. Last week, he passed for 346 yards, had 2 touchdowns, and a 24-17 victory over North Carolina State. He has led the Orange to a 5-1 record. He's passed for 2,160 yards and 19 touchdowns, and I just bet that he wouldn't run out the clock in a close game.
A couple years ago, I found myself rooting for Georgia Tech because of some of the A&M ties to Georgia Tech, and I still am rooting for some of those dudes, right? And I feel the same way about Syracuse.
Yeah.
Elijah Robinson, obviously.
Fidel Diggs.
Yeah. So, anyway.
Well, they're doing well.
Yeah.
Number 3, Dylan Gabriel, the Oregon quarterback. Wow, his candidacy was really enhanced by the fact that he just led them to a victory over Ohio State, probably the most impressive victory in college football this year.
Yeah.
Was it not? But anyway, in that game, passed for 341 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also rushed for 32 yards and a score. Overall, Gabriel has passed for 1,790 yards and 13 touchdowns.
That's pretty good numbers right there.
It is. And again, he came up big in the biggest game, and I think that's how you win a Heisman Trophy. You know, who cares if you throw for 500 yards against nobody? Right? But when you're in a big game and you make big plays to help your team win, I think that carries a lot of weight.
Were you talking about Jackson Dart there?
That could be, yes.
I think he's a good quarterback, but yes, his numbers were absolutely inflated against inferior competition.
Yes, they were. But you can say that about a lot of, including somebody that's going to be coming up in a minute.
Okay.
All right, but let's go.
Not yet.
Number 2.
You're gonna diss my dude at number 1?
To answer your question, I still have Ashton Jeanty of Boise State, number 2, but now it's kind of like 1A and 1B, and I'm just waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the problem is with Ashton Jeanty, if you really want to put it under the microscope, you say, well, yeah, they played Washington State and Oregon, but who else? And in fact, you can even say, is really Washington State that big a deal? But hey.
And Oregon, when they played them, I feel like Oregon was having problems early on.
Well, defense, I think they probably still do. That's going to keep them from winning the national championship, I think. But anyway, Ashton Jeanty, the nation's leading rusher, increased his totals to 1,248 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. And this, despite playing a lot of games, just half, not playing the second half. So, hey, coach, get your guy in there and help him win the Heisman Trophy. His average per carry dropped last week. He's now just averaging 9.9 yards per carry.
He's no longer double digit.
No longer double digits. Last week, Jeanty had 217 yards rushing and scored a touchdown in a 28-7 victory over Hawaii. That was the third time this season he's exceeded 200 yards rushing. And by the way, 9 runs this year, 9 that covered at least 50 yards, and 7 of those were 60 yards or more.
Yeah.
Man, what a big play threat that guy is from Frisco, Texas.
Frisco, Texas.
And go back and look at his offer list. Nobody, no Power 4 programs, so he went to Boise State, and that's why he won't transfer, because they said, hey, these guys believed in me, I'm going to stick with them. I love that about him.
All right, and number one, guy, but
Cam Ward of Miami.
But he's good. It's the team that's not so good, right?
I'll just say go back and look. You can make an argument, a really good argument, that the best team that Cam Ward has faced all year still is Florida. And
that was week 1.
Week 1, they're wanting to fire their coach.
And they're about to fire their coach maybe this weekend.
So
we've been saying that for a month, by the way.
Yeah. Well, except you know what? They got the open week after this weekend. So
it makes sense.
He still leads the nation in passing. He's thrown for 2,219 yards, 20 touchdowns in 6 games. That's a national best, 369.8 passing yards per game. He's rushed for 161 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, they were idle last week, so the last time we saw him play, he passed for 437 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of those touchdown passes came in the fourth quarter, and he also ran for a touchdown that fourth quarter to rally Miami to a 39-38 victory over Cal.
All right, we're going to do a break here. We'll come back. I believe Stephen McGee should be in attendance. We're talking 1775 right now. 1775 is the place we go eat, OB. It's kind of our place.
Yeah, when I want barbecue, I'm thinking 1775.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so delicious, man.
Yeah, it gives you independence. I know 1776, but it puts you on the way to independence from hunger.
Yeah, when I go to 1775, I didn't get it last time, but I got to get the queso mac and cheese. I got to get the pork ribs. I got to get everything that what else do we want to choose? We can do
the brisket, the sausage. They got it all. They got all the classics.
Throw
they
it up,
just
catch it with your mouth.
I wish I could. Be like my German Shepherd. By the way, I took my wife there a couple weeks ago, and she was just about that queso mac and cheese. What she was so impressed with how thick it is, how the cheese just clings to the macaroni. It's not like sometimes it's a little bit watery. No, this clings on it.
979-492.
Like a medium clings onto David Nuño.
979-492-6241. 1775txbbq.com. Good to see you. We're going to go One Direction here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour presented by, Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. One Direction football, the whole segment. Can we do that?
Yeah, we can. And I want to get this out there because it was just the topic conversation. One Direction, never heard of the band, and I've never heard of their songs, but apparently they're uber famous.
I didn't know that they were that famous. I knew Harry Styles, but I didn't know that was his band from before.
I know Harry Styles too, but
OB, you got his playlist.
OB was jamming to him earlier at the gym.
From what I understand, he's what was the lead singer of a soy boy band.
Soy boy band?
Soy boy band.
What does that mean?
Kind of feminine guys. The kind that you used to pick on at Burnett High School.
Yeah. What kind of? Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, there was some tragic news from that band, but I didn't know. There? I didn't know the band. I didn't know that they were that big of a deal. I thought they were just. I didn't know who they were.
And I don't want to make light of that situation. Sorry, I don't want to come across that way. We had this conversation because our younger generation here at TexAgs was basically pointing out that it's almost crazy to think that we've not heard of One Direction.
Well,
you know NSYNC.
I know the name.
You know
I've heard of
Backstreet
NSYNC,
Boys.
but this is not NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, right?
But they're saying that level.
It's the modern equivalent?
I think 10 years ago, modern equivalent.
Yeah, I think all this does is just, kind of underscore just how much music today sucks.
What music do you like from today?
From today?
Yeah.
You know what? I listened to a little Bad Bunny just to honor you,
That's
but
my guy right
I can't say I love it. The music I love today is still George Strait, Garth Brooks, Alan Jackson. Like that's my music of today, and I feel like I will say that 50 years from now. I will never get off that horse.
None of the new country acts.
Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, Bronny skips him.
He skips him.
Yep, he skips him and Zach Bryan.
Bronny, we have problems, buddy.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, how was the LSU tailgate? The frat parties?
It was fun. You got a picture of me. A video of me. What is it called? Shotgunning
a beer.
No way.
Yeah,
I didn't get this.
At the break, we'll show you.
I can't wait to see it.
So I want to ask you a football question.
Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank.
I want to ask you a football question.
The Street Northgate.
Can you imagine Olin running to the quad?
I can actually.
Just all these LSU
fans. If we'd pay your bail, would you do it?
What?
If we'd pay your bail, would you do it?
No.
Okay.
No, I would have to be paid enough to.
Well, what is your price tag? Because maybe we can raise
with
this
our
on
listeners.
I mean, we're talking 7 figures.
7 figures?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a big range there.
$1 million.
So you'd want $1 million cash?
Cash.
Yeah, all up front?
$1 million. Yeah, all up front.
It was cold. All right. Let's talk about how A&M has grown since Notre Dame. What are some areas that you've seen? All right. From this, maybe not even Notre Dame. We can go just the first couple weeks of the season, but areas that you've seen A&M grow that maybe you were still questioning after that first game.
I think the most obvious to me the last couple weeks especially has been this wide receiver group. I think they've shown up. And Ja'Day Walker and Noah Thomas especially in that group have made really competitive catches. And Bussey, of course.
He was questionable on the injury list yesterday that they posted.
Yeah. I think that's the most pivotal change, right? And then, I mean, look, that was Connor's worst game. So the quarterback improvement from Notre Dame to the rest of the games, whether it's Marcel or Connor, has improved drastically. I think that goes without saying. That was never a concern of mine, the ability at that position. I think my concern has always been the receivers.
Yeah, I think you're seeing Noah start to show signs of being a number one.
Yep.
That they always said he could be. And then I think you mentioned Jabari Barber. Or maybe you didn't.
One. Yep.
But I think he's a guy that's given them something, like, especially on third down, a guy that can make a catch in traffic. And I say Ja'Day Walker starting to do what he did last year. So, I'm looking at the receiver. I put it this way. I wondered at the beginning of the year if the receiver position was going to be a liability.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, okay, at the very worst right now, I'm saying, man, that's a solid group.
Yeah.
And getting better.
We can find ways to win with these guys. I think the other thing I didn't know was how good Moss was going to be, a productive runner. I think we all knew that he was a good player. I wouldn't say that going into the year I thought he was going to be a great player or one of the top in the SEC, and I'm very optimistic.
2 reasons for that. Tommy Moffitt, he looks stronger and faster.
Yep.
And Adam Cushing.
Offensive line.
Imagine that. A running back has been more productive behind a better offensive line. That never happens.
What a thought. So
how does that work?
I'm going to ask you, the answer may be the same, but I'm going to ask you, what position group do we need to see more from? And it might be wide receivers. Like we're seeing it the last few weeks, but it might be them who we need to see more from all season long.
Yeah, I would definitely. I still, my eyes are going to be squarely focused on the wide receiver group. And I don't think Mississippi State's going to be a pushover by any stretch of the imagination, especially at Mississippi State. But I think to get through the SEC gauntlet that we have left, especially looking at LSU and Texas, teams that can put up points offensively, we're going to have a lot of offensive production. And I don't think we're going to be able to get it done just running the football. Can Connor, these wide receivers, get it done in the pass game? I think you have to look at it very optimistically, especially after our previous game. There's a lot of single high man coverage, and that's what I expect you're going to get, and they're going to dare you to make those back shoulder throws, put the ball in the money, and make a competitive catch. If you do that, you're going to have a lot of success.
How about this one? And this is way out of the box. But what I want to see more from, and I want to see them, how about defensive line? They're playing great. I get it. It's probably the strongest part of the team. But what if they're able to just elevate that and become even more dominant, which I think we're just now in the last two games seeing Nick Scorton be who we thought he'd be.
Mm-hmm.
And what if Nick Scorton continues that and now we start seeing more from Shamar Turner or the Shamars? You know? Go from, right now, they're excellent. But what if they go from excellent to absolutely dominant? Because, you're trying to win a championship now. You're actually trying to win a championship now. And the strongest part of your team is that defensive line. Well, what if they just lead the charge from here on out?
Yep. That's a great point. And I think and you've heard Elko say this all year long, we're going to be a great football team by winning the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely.
Offensive and defensive side of the ball. Maybe arguably the biggest surprise, the turnaround of the offensive line this year and how productive they've been protecting the quarterback. And then obviously in the run game, you're just not going to be able to, Moss has been great. Yards after contact, it's not always been pretty, but these guys are getting it done. And I think that was a huge question mark. So, boy, if there's a box to check, that's a really good one. And OB, great football teams, as much as it pains me to say this, they start up front, right?
Yep.
You can't. I firmly believe this. You can't win at this level, at this current day of college football and in the current NFL without great quarterback. I firmly believe that. I think you have to have an elite quarterback in order to win, especially with our current offensive roster, but it's hard to have an elite quarterback without a great offensive line. They make everyone else
100%.
be able to play to that ability.
You ever remember that show, Extreme Makeover? They took somebody that's like fat and out of shape and maybe real ugly, and then they do some things and they look beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what has happened to the offensive line.
Well said.
They had the extreme makeover. You're like, hey, man, it's kind of hot and sexy now.
Maybe they just needed a wardrobe consultant because maybe these guys were that good. They just weren't being used the right way.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
Yeah.
They got Lucci's wardrobe consultant. Alert.
Hey, so if you get
Buzz Williams is wardrobe consultant.
That one, are you a vest guy?
Well, it's just Buzz, very dapper, well-dressed guy.
Yeah. See, I'm not a vest guy.
You're not?
Yeah.
I'm not
You're
a
just
vest
an
guy.
invest
I don't work
guy,
at
right?
Walmart. that's not my level.
Oh, dang.
But nothing wrong with working there, by the way. Let me ask you this. If you get the Connor that we got against Missouri, against Mississippi State and LSU, does that, to you, mean, they win these next two? I mean, there's got to be more, but that level of Connor.
For Mississippi State, yes. LSU, it's going to take more than just a great quarterback play. I mean, I think defensively we can't lay an egg, and I love Will Lee at corner.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been really phenomenal. I'm still concerned about the back end.
It's the big plays.
The big plays scare me to death with LSU. I think I love Nussmeier, their quarterback. I've been high on him for a while. Lacey is a problem. LSU just always seems to have playmakers, and I'm not saying they're a complete football team, but if we just get great quarterback performances, are we good enough to beat LSU? Yeah, it depends on what kind of game LSU has, but I feel good about Mississippi State.
I would say yes, because first of all, I don't think, from what I've watched, I don't think LSU can stop a good running game.
Yeah.
And then if I'm able to compliment that with Connor throwing 82% and getting the ball downfield and everything he does. And I put it this way: LSU's a good offensive team. I don't think that they could keep. I don't think they're good enough offensively to compensate for their defensive issues like they were last year.
So you don't believe their defense has gotten good? You think they're just a little bit better than last year?
Yeah. Maybe they're a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I thought Lane Kiffin just completely botched that. Who they played?
Nobody.
You know, I mean, the win over Ole Miss is impressive, but had Lane not botched it, they wouldn't have won the game.
Yep.
They wouldn't have won. And, you know, UCLA, who cares if you beat UCLA? UCLA may be the worst Power 5 team or Power 4 team in the country. They're awful. You lost to USC. You shouldn't have.
Could you have imagined that would be the case after that press conference to start the season?
Where is UCLA?
Yeah, where's that? I forgot.
All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with more. We'll do a little buy-sell leads. Right now, we're talking about sponsorship and vendor opportunities with the Association of Former Students. So if your organization or business is looking for ways to engage with Aggies, you need to reach out to the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during awesome events held throughout the year. We're talking marquee events like Aggie Ring Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo, The Gathering. They welcome tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities available to put your brand in front of those attendees. These events offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand. These options include title sponsorship naming, on-site presence, activation, recognition, and social media posts, and much, much more. There's also advertising opportunities there in the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with other Aggies, choose a partner that's been a part of this amazing university for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. That is sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. Apparently, this is One Direction. I've heard this song before. You don't have headphones on?
I don't have headphones. How does it sound?
It sounds like crap.
I do.
Yeah,
I do know this song. I didn't like it at the time. I don't like it now. As a reminder, final segment of the show brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave, serving Aggieland since 1984. They have your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on Double Dave.
Sounds good.
I know. I can have it right now.
I would eat one right now.
Yeah, I would eat one right now.
Ranch? Marinara?
No, I skipped that.
Yeah,
You just go
straight
raw
cheese
dog?
and, I raw dog that, yeah.
I'm a marinara guy.
You're a marinara? I'm a ranch guy.
I wish they would heat up the marinara, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cold marinara, no.
Doesn't work for me.
Yeah, no. You have to have a decently warm marinara. I like, look, the ranch, it can't be like Hidden Valley Ranch. I like the homemade ranch that some of these pizza joints throw out there. So, look, it's a good deal. It's a good situation. Trust me on that one.
Buy, sell, or lease.
Okay.
Teams with 7 wins or more. All 3 of these teams I'm going to give you are 4-2. Okay. And Nick may be able to pull up some of their schedules.
So we're saying they're going to at least get to 7 wins.
Yep.
Okay.
Oklahoma, who's 4-2.
All right, sell on that one.
South Carolina, who's 4-2. Arkansas, who's 4-2. Who might win this weekend?
Man, I haven't watched South Carolina a lot, and I just haven't really laid eyes on the quarterback situation. OB,
He's good.
Curious to,
He's really good.
I've heard good things. I've just not seen him.
I don't know if you have bifocals, you can read
my
that.
concern with Arkansas, great defense. I just don't like the quarterback situation, and I'm just curious how much that costs them. I'll buy South Carolina.
Okay.
Lease Arkansas. Sell in Oklahoma.
And I am buying Arkansas.
I knew you were going there.
And
I knew he was going to go.
I think they beat LSU this week. Why? Because they can run.
You're taking them?
I'm going to take.
What's the line on that one?
I don't even know. I'm taking them to win, not to cover.
But I would imagine Arkansas is a dog.
I know, and I'm taking them to win.
Wow. So, I mean, that's a little sneak peek for the bettors out there.
Yeah.
So I think Arkansas is going to win 7 games or more. I will lease South Carolina.
Yep.
And I will sell Oklahoma.
LSU favored by 2.5 in that game.
Wow. And that's at Arkansas?
In Fayetteville, yeah.
That must be why.
Now that
Arkansas is unranked, right? Currently?
Yeah. Now, South Carolina, the last time we saw Arkansas, right, they were beating Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. I ain't saying.
What you're
I'm
saying.
just saying.
You're telling me there's a chance.
A really good chance. They can run the football.
Yeah.
And LSU can't
stop the run.
Yeah.
Now Arkansas is kind of challenged in the secondary, and that could be a problem. But hey, if you believe in trap games, do you believe in trap games?
I do.
You just played a big game against Ole Miss. If you're LSU, next week you play a big game at against A&M. So this week you got to go into Arkansas, a team that you probably don't respect.
Yeah. Well, look, Mississippi State's a trap game.
It is.
I think we both are in trap situations.
I think some
Mississippi
traps
State's
are more dangerous, perilous than
but
others.
we've seen this. A&M versus Mississippi schools.
I know.
It's a deal.
Starkville is a torture chamber.
Yes.
Guys,
that's like Guantanamo Bay.
We're glossing over the fact that nobody picked Oklahoma to do anything because that's where they are.
Well, plus they're bad and they got a really tough schedule.
I thought their defense was going to be better, but at the end of the day, defense didn't look great, and quarterback situation is brutal. How do you end up at that? I mean, like, it's one thing to have quarterbacks that you're like, they've shown something, but they haven't shown anything. And these guys were supposed to be elite.
Supposed to be.
We got to drop it right there. We'll come back with Ryan Swope. OB, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Stephen's going to stick around. That and more. It's TexAgs Live. You love the South Side. That was on the radio. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, hour number 2 of the program. Ryan Swope is in studio. What's up, Swopey?
What's up, man?
How you been?
Big One Direction guy.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them, but we did just pull up a few of their songs, and it's I kind of remember some of it, but sad deal.
What was the big boy band in your day? Was it
like my childhood day? Like
was it
like
NSYNC?
NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and then there was
Matchbox 20.
No,
Sister Hazel.
No, there's something brothers. They had long hair.
Hanson
brothers.
Oh no. Doo-wop.
Doo-wop.
So my day, a little older than you guys, it was Boyz II Men. If you guys know,
oh, dude, Boyz II Men's legit.
Yeah, Jodeci. Those were the boy bands that I grew up with.
Legit, no cap.
Yeah.
Hey, I just realized
what's up?
That your beard situation right now, you are business on the top lip and you are party down on the bottom. Look at that.
It's a good look.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm homeless shelter guy.
I just realized that's.
I think I missed a spot. Did I miss a spot?
No,
it's clean. The mustache is gone.
Oh yeah,
mustache is gone.
Ah, dude, my stash is white, bro. It's kind of.
But it's like it looks freshly
white trash. So I just had to get rid of it.
It's a good look.
It looks great. I may do it. Will you do it? If
no,
I do it,
I won't.
I won't either. I probably won't either.
I can't.
I've already got enough bald spots on top.
If OB does the streaking thing we talked about, then I'll do whatever.
I will do it.
Yeah,
I will.
Whatever.
You know what? I'll shave my head on TexAgs radio live.
I might go Mohawk then.
Good.
So I asked him. I'm just going to ask you, what growth-wise from the wide receiver group? What have you seen from the Notre Dame game? To where we are now.
I've seen some progress. I think 3 is really playing a lot better. I think he's kind of our go-to guy. I think all day, he's been showing up, making some good plays. But I think we could be better, obviously. But we're making progress, and I'm just ready for I want a guy to go out and get 10 grabs and $150 and a couple tuds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that asking too much?
I would like to see that. I think
I'd love to see it.
I'd love to see that.
Actually, Evan Stewart basically did that last week.
Yeah.
I love that. I've never heard
tutties?
Some tutties.
Couple tutties?
That's what the kids say now. Yeah.
No way.
When did that come out, by the way? That's for the last couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
That wasn't a thing when we were younger, right? Tutties?
Tutties?
I've never heard it before.
Never?
Dude, I've learned so much today. This has been such an insightful experience for me. Thank you all.
Music and lingo.
Yeah.
So, all right. And I was saying Evan Stewart for Oregon actually had that game, which for a while he hadn't done it. I would love for somebody to explode. If Ja'Day Walker, if Jabri Barber, if Noah Thomas, somebody to give me that. Noah had 100 yards.
Noah played good against Arkansas.
But I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah. No, me too. Cyrus Allen is another one. I'm waiting for him to kind of break out. But they're playing better, and I think they've got some real opportunity this week. I mean, I think their secondary's a little suspect, so I think our receivers have a great opportunity to have big games.
And I think the opportunity these next couple of weeks are there for a couple reasons. The level of secondary talent they're going to face, at least with Mississippi State, and what I believe LSU is. And also, I think last week was really Connor's first game. That's why I'm looking at it. Because he played in 2 games before that. He wasn't right. He was super right against Missouri. Now the question is he that level the rest of the way? Or does he fluctuate a little bit? If he's that level, then we're going to see other receivers have century mark games.
Well, how many guys had catches? 10?
Yeah.
Against Missouri. So spread the wealth around, and it's hard to take away one guy. That's always a good sign, and you're completing a lot of passes, which means guys are throwing the ball accurately, but 2 is making competitive catches, which is super important. But look, these D lines aren't very good. I think we're going to start out running the football, and Mike Elko's
pretty good at that.
We got that match, but I think being able to run the football late in games, and one thing I love, and we talked about this in previous weeks too, is Colin doesn't really let these guys substitute a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So he's going to leave his group out there. They don't necessarily play super up tempo, but they get 12 personnel out there, or whatever personnel group they have. They want that defense not to be able to substitute, right? So now you get them on play 6 and 7. These guys are worn out, and you just continue to commit to running the football, and especially with a head coach that's willing to go for it on 4th and short. Now all of a sudden you give your offense, that many more downs to commit to running the football. I'm excited about this run game and where they're going, and then obviously what we've shown against Missouri. The question is, can we repeat that type of performance against other SEC teams? Right? We'll find out a lot. Look, Mississippi State, not a great football team. I think they're the bottom of the barrel SEC caliber team, but I don't care who you play in the SEC.
We've struggled against Mississippi's.
Exactly. I would not overlook them.
Don't overlook them, and I don't think the players will. You are your team is one of 2 to have won in Starkville. Do you know that?
Really?
Well, in this era, SEC era.
We've struggled with all the Mississippi schools the last decade. I feel like, if anything, that's kind of been our Achilles heel, man.
I'd love to see them go 2-0 against Mississippi schools. Well, we're not going to play Ole Miss.
Well, yeah, we don't play Ole Miss.
But I would love to smash them. I mean, what if we take Texas and we play Ole Miss in a championship game and we smash Lane Kiffin? Like, how joyful would that be?
Oh, gosh. It'd be incredible.
Oh, my gosh.
It'd be incredible.
So
Ole Miss is pretty good.
You guys won there. Was it
pretty good?
They're good.
I don't know if it was 20. It had to be 2012. So 2012, you guys win there. Do you remember that being what kind of atmosphere? Mississippi State.
Oh man, that was great. That was Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was a great environment. Cowbells were ringing. It was hot. It was the first blackout uniforms, black helmet. It was nice.
It's a hard win. They went to Mississippi State, defeated the Cowbells, the terrible environment, and a $240 million quarterback. It's probably one of the best wins of all time.
Oh man, you hate to see that.
Swope's boy.
But no, I mean, it's a great environment. But we've got to go in there, and I think out the gate offensively, I think that first drive is so important that we got to put the ball in the end zone. And really, we've been good about that. And once we do that, it's hard to stop us.
Yep.
We run the ball, it opens things up on the back end. Connor feels comfortable, and we start marching down the field and scoring.
Guys, they've scored 5 of 6 games on their first possession.
I know. I've noticed that. Have you noticed that?
Dude, that's interesting. That's a great stat. Momentum,
like
especially in college sports,
huge.
It's a funny thing. It's huge, right?
Huge.
Getting off to a good start.
Momentum with a team that can run the ball with the lead, forget about it.
If we can continue to do that, we're going to be hard to beat.
Yeah,
I agree.
And the thing is, A&M, again, I'm using Missouri as my, and I don't think all games are going to go like Missouri. That was so beautiful, everything about it, right?
Yeah.
But they showed that they can run the ball when they want. And they've done that all year. And right now, it looks like they can pass. And that was a question for a little bit.
I think another thing is I think about is efficiency, right? How many drives end in scoring, or not even if you don't score points, but you're not 3 and out, right? So you have sustained drives and you're winning the field position battle. Like, so at worst, you're putting together a couple first downs before you punt, and then you're scoring points the majority of the time. That's a hard offense to stop, especially when you're running the football, because you don't get many possessions.
No.
If you get behind early, well, good luck, because you're not going to get the ball back for 7, 8 more minutes. That helps the defense. It helps everybody. So
what I'm excited about is just how we control both sides of the line of scrimmage. And I think that is so crucial in today's game, especially in the SEC. If you can control the line of scrimmage, it opens so much up for your offense. It opens up so much thing, makes your secondary play a lot better, pressure the quarterback. If we can continue to do that, we're going to be hard to beat.
Well, that opens up a topic that we've been talking about all week, like especially knowing that about A&M. I look at the SEC, I look at college football in general, and I am not convinced that there's a dominant force out there. I know Texas is number 1. Oregon had a huge win against Ohio State. Ohio State looks good.
We're talking about this.
Yeah, a lot more parity across the board,
Way more, right? So if you can control the line of scrimmage, I'm not saying A&M's going to run the table. I would love to see that. But what I'm saying is that level of team can go and beat anybody. And this is an SEC year that anybody, like we're seeing it. Kentucky will look great one week and lose the next week, right? Like we're seeing, and Georgia doesn't impress me yet. Texas, we're about to find out. It may change the narrative this weekend.
Yeah, the sword cuts both ways, though, too, right?
Yeah.
So you can beat anybody on any given week, and they can also beat you. But
we've got a good-looking schedule.
What are the ingredients?
Can you imagine? Yeah, we talked about this. If we went out and Texas wins out, what this game will be like. I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I'm sorry. That would be freaking awesome.
Get your tickets now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I'm okay talking about that right now because it's been so long since we've been able to project that kind of run. Like it's been a while that we're middle of October and thinking, guys, we kind of control the destiny right now.
Yeah. lot of football to be played
Yes.
between now and then, and we've seen this narrative change very quickly in the past.
Yes.
I will say this. One thing I'm convinced of is that Mike Elko is the right guy for our program. We got the right man. If there's one thing you say, hey, what are you going to bank on today? It's Mike Elko. I believe that Mike Elko will hold those guys accountable. He will make them believe every day that they're not very good, that they have a lot of work to be done, that Mississippi State is going to kick their tail. I promise you, he has them convinced that Mississippi State is the best football team that they're going to play all year. And that's what good football coaches do. They never let you get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
They're always pushing you. And they're always finding ways for teams to improve. You never want to be the football team that peaks in week 5 or week 6. You want to be the football team that peaks week 12.
Yeah.
And I know in college football, you can't have slip up because you want to make the college football playoff, but I always remember the Giants under Eli Manning. They were a below average team. I think they had a losing record early in the year. I think they finished the year, I don't know, let's call it like 8-8, something like 9-7.
Yeah.
They got hot late. They won like 4 or 5 games at the end of the year. They make the playoffs, I think, as a wild card, and then win the Super Bowl. It's all about getting hot late
and beating the best team that we had ever seen in football. That was that Super Bowl that I think you're talking about. Is when the Patriots were undefeated.
Yeah, they went toe to toe. So that's my point. Is you want your team to continue to get better throughout the year, and having a great football coach makes a difference, in my opinion,
100%.
to allow those teams to peak.
100%. But they keep them level. You know what I mean? A good football coach doesn't over.
I think when you win, they keep you hungry, but when you lose, they build you up, right? They don't continue to beat you down. Yeah. There's a fine line.
And he talked about it a little bit this week. Like, we can't overlook anybody. We have people in this locker room have a losing record against Mississippi State. Like, you cannot overlook this matchup. He said that at the press conference, and he's saying that at practice.
Yeah, he's a great.
We haven't earned anything. I mean, look, let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, that's what he's telling them
We haven't
too.
done anything.
Yep.
We have not done anything. We have to go out there and earn it every week and prove that we deserve to even be in the conversation.
Yeah.
That starts with beating Mississippi State. And I love the idea of us being a one-loss team going in to play Texas. I love that. That's an incredible narrative. It's going to be good for everybody. I think we have a long way to go before we get there. We had a lot of good football teams.
Well, I just like talking about it.
I know, it's fun.
We can talk about it. They just can't be.
Yeah.
No. But I think we've got. I'm optimistic, and I feel pretty confident about our coaching staff, our players, that they're all buying in. And I mean, it's kind of. I think that it could happen, but we have to stay focused. What McGee's saying on the task at hand.
You're saying that with respect of understanding the SEC, nothing is guaranteed. Oklahoma's learning that. Texas might learn it, even though some of the matchups. But this weekend, they may run. What's that?
I think they'll make a stumble. I think Texas will stumble somewhere along the way. Whether it's Arkansas,
Arkansas.
Whether it's Arkansas or Georgia.
Oh,
Georgia's this
Kentucky.
week. Yeah, they're going to stumble somewhere along the way.
Vandy's a tough out, man. They're going to Vandy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that little Diego guy, he's a problem
to watch.
He's a problem. I'm not saying he's great, but he's just a problem.
And I brought this up a few times on the show. I have a bunch of Texas fans that have told me, and they're right. Hey, our schedule's a lot harder than you made it out to be. Sure, I still think Oklahoma's going to win 7 games. I still think Vandy may win 7 or 8 games. These are all games, no matter where you go, if you have top 10 talent in the country, you win against 7-win teams. That's what top talent should do.
100%. Good football teams find ways to win those hard games. Yeah, look, I think the Florida win is a much bigger win than what people have given us credit.
Arkansas too.
And Arkansas, yeah, exactly.
Arkansas's good, man.
They are good, but I think going on the road to Florida with a team that was kind of on the ropes, it's a different mindset. And remember, and
a healthy Graham Mertz. By the way.
I remember thinking at that point, are we going to get to 7 wins this year?
I know.
I remember thinking that, and it's a different mindset and script now, but. They proved what kind of ability they have. But Mertz, he was a good quarterback. He was much better than I gave him ever credit for. And I feel bad for the kid.
Is good.
If he played that full game, it's a different football game.
I still think they win. Have I simplified this Mississippi State game too much by saying, just don't make dumb mistakes?
Don't turn the football over.
Yeah.
It's an amazing stat. It's transcended for decades of football on all levels. You win the turnover battle, your chances of winning the game with +1, +2, +3, +4 turnovers, like +4, it's like 99%. +3, it's like 95. +2, it's like 90. +1, it's like 80. It's momentum. That stat matters. Possessions matter. Protect the football. Be efficient. Don't go 3 and out all game. Just do your job, yeah, you're going to win the football game. But 18 to 22-year-old kids, they try to do too much. That's when turnovers happen. They're trying to extend the football out. They fumble it, do something stupid, or a punt return, trying to do too much. Just do your job.
A&M is +6 this year on turnover margin. Nick just said that into my ear. Also, the dumb mistakes don't have to just be the turnovers, right? The costly 3rd and 1 penalty that we saw against Notre Dame where I think Ja'Day Walker went offsides. But those kind of mistakes, you can't have those mistakes when you're driving. You have to play a clean game, and then you can do what you've done, which is run the ball in the fourth quarter, call it a day.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's right. And I think that we're seeing progress. I mean, that Notre Dame game, we learned a lot about our football team. And I'd rather actually lose that game then because I think Coach Elko used that as momentum, and they built off that. They watched the film. We got to execute better. We can't beat ourselves. Stuff like that you mature as a football team, you go back and look at it and go, man, that was probably helpful that we went through that.
Yeah.
Now we can build off that. We can be better. And then we can mature, and then we can execute and do those little things correctly. That's good football teams figure that out. I'd rather it be then than now. So
it's hard enough to beat your opponent, but when you beat yourself, that just compounds and makes it infinitely more difficult. For a running first football team, staying in front of the chains and being efficient matters infinitely more.
Yeah.
It's hard to make up 2nd and 15 when you're trying to run the football, right? If you're at 2nd and 5, now it opens up the playbook.
100% agree.
So Mississippi State, this is the last thing for you guys. Mississippi State has a bad offensive line, but they have big play potential. I think about that defensive line, like, we just saw them kind of scratch the surface, I thought, against Missouri. That this is when teams are going to sit back there in the pocket and throw, Nick Scorton and company, they're gonna get their sacks.
They better.
They better, yeah. I mean, Mississippi State gave Texas a game for half of a game at least. So it's the SEC. Anything can happen. Like McGee was saying, I think Elko's getting these guys right, and but I definitely think that they're, bottom of the barrel in the SEC. But that doesn't say a whole lot. This league is tough every week, so we got to bring our A game.
Even if it's not sacks, right? It's pressure. Pressure around the quarterback. Pressure around his feet. And it just makes them be a tidbit late, and that allows your back end to look way better than it actually is. But not just being pressure on the quarterback, but being sound in your rush lanes, right? So if you allow a young quarterback to escape, that's what a lot of these guys really want to see happen. They want to see where one guy, got out of his gap, and now he can run for 15 yards, and it calms them down, it gets a first down, and they settle in. That's what you don't want to happen.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate you. TexAgs Wing Shoot, November 6th and 8th, brought to you by Bird Dog. Check out the website, birddogit.com/TXAGS Hunt. It's an all-inclusive hunt there in Brady, Texas, 2-night upland shoot with some Aggie legends. Roger Krieger is going to be performing and hanging out with us. Chris Harrington is going to be there. There'll be skeet shooting, axe throwing, a guided hunt, cold beverages, and Aggie fellowship. And again, as I mentioned, country star Roger Krieger going to be performing on that first evening there. You want to check out Bird Dog. Basically, is an Airbnb for hunters and ranchers. Check out their website. Learn all about it. You can go. You can be an experienced hunter or brand new like myself and enjoy it. They'll teach you. They'll have great fellowship. You'll love it. The website overall is birddogit.com. But for this upland shoot, check out birddogit.com/TXAGS Hunt. It is birddogit.com/TXAGS Hunt. We're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. This weekend, the A&M cross country team hosts the 7th annual Arturo Barrios Invitational. I have to say with an accent, Friday at the Watts cross country course. The men's 8K race will begin at 8:30, followed by the women's 6K race. We've got Wes McCraven here and Julia Abel. Hello, friends.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Great.
So let's, I guess, let's look ahead, look back, and go back to ahead. We have this big event coming up this weekend. How many schools are coming?
41 women's teams and 38 men's teams.
Wow. So, and really good talent?
All over the country. From Gonzaga on the West Coast, Arizona, Colorado, to the East Coast, Delaware. I know I'm forgetting some people in there, but it's all over the country. It's really turned into a true interregional competition with all the regions of the country represented. So.
Julia, the first invitational this year, the A&M Invitational, a lot of fans came out. It was a great event, right?
Yeah, we've been trying to kind of prove a point that, hey, cross country is a sport where the community really does get involved, and we don't sell tickets to cross country, but why don't we? And so we wanted to prove, hey, we do have a lot of fans that come out, and so we had 5,540. That's not counting the people competing, the coaches, none of that. It was just fans that came. We did it with little clickers, good old-fashioned clickers. And we were blown away by that many people, because you look at a cross-country course, it's so spaced out, and you can't really tell. There was 5,500 people there that day. And we have the clickers to prove it. It goes, oh, okay, well, that's what that many people looked like out here? Okay, then we always have kind of close to that amount of people.
So I want to ask you this. At a college event like that, do parents do what I do sometimes at the middle school cross-country event or the high school cross-country event? I start... And all right, they're off. I take my picture, and then I run to the midway point. I missed them. And then I run. Do they do that in college too?
Yeah, the parents are running everywhere. They're running through
bumping into each other.
They're running everywhere.
It's crazy. I mean, some parents talk about that's how they get their workout in for the week. They go to cross country meet and run around.
See, I never plan on doing it, but then I'm like, hey,
it's so exciting.
That, and then my wife's like, are you gonna get a picture? I gotta go. I gotta rush over there. Let's look back at Wisconsin, which was, you said 3 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about how, because that was, you had some injury situations, you had some stuff going on, and then how do you feel since then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Wisconsin meet's probably the best regular season meet in the country. And so there's, I think, 20 nationally ranked teams in the race. And so we didn't perform quite as well as we wanted to, but we did go into, on the men's side, we had some illnesses going into it. We weren't even sure a week out we were even going to take our men's team. Women's side, we had some illnesses and some injuries, and so we weren't quite at full strength. It was a good experience for both teams to be in that kind of field. I think it prepares us better for the Barrios meet. Now we've had 3 weeks of good training. Everybody seems to be healthy, knock on wood, and now we go a long stretch at home with Barrios, the SEC meet, and the regional meet all here in College Station or in Aggie Land.
To Wes's point, Julia, there's 13 of the 24 women's teams were in the national championship meet. Were in this one, 16 of the 25 men's. So elite competition.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we tried to remind them of, because we came off a really high from our home meet and then took them to Wisconsin, and they were all, after the race, like, and we're like, hey, he kept saying, you're not any less fit than you were 2 weeks ago. Like, this is the best regular season meet we go to, kind of trying to, we were having to kind of reel them back in a little bit. And they were like, oh, yeah, y'all are right, and they're excited for this race. So I think it was a good meet to see competition that early on, because it's not competition that we would see really before nationals usually. So I think it was good, but yeah, we had to kind of go like, no, you guys are fit. You guys are fit. You're in shape. We're running great. Like, you're good.
How hard is it obviously you want to be the fastest on that particular day against your competition, but how hard is it for people at this level to run their race as opposed to what others are running? Like, what your numbers are, right? Yeah. So if you stick to the methodology that you provide for them, we're all good.
Yeah. Well, the cross country is unique in the sense that because the courses vary and because there's so many people, you have to, the course narrows at different points and you have to be in good position. And so it's every cross country race goes out too fast. That's just the nature of, because everybody's trying to get in good position. We we actually talk about that in like, hey, the 800 meters into the race, the person in last place, person in first place aren't moving that much differently pace-wise. So it is about, being in a decent enough position so when it does settle down, you're fine. You don't have a lot of ground to make up. And everybody's got different strengths and weaknesses. We've got some athletes that are way better being out aggressive, being up towards the front, and we've got other athletes that are way better coming from behind. And part of that's, just knowing that, learning that about them learning that about themselves, and then, the executing. It's people don't realize sometimes, unless you stand really close to a good cross country meet, a big good cross country meet. I mean, it sounds like violence because it is so. I mean, it is loud, and it's you get sweat dripping, people spitting, people grunting and groaning, and it's just. I mean, to keep your head in that chaos is what we're trying to achieve. Like focus on what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, despite all the alarm bells going off around you. Your brain and your body are telling you, no, slow down, slow down, slow down.
Let's highlight some of the runners this year, and I'm just going to go back to the Wisconsin meet. Megan Roberts had a very good meet. Talk a little bit about Megan, Julia.
Yeah, she did. Megan's somebody that, like, I didn't recruit. I was on the team when she was a senior in high school, but he would always talk about how good she was in high school, but a little bit injury prone. And we talked to her last year of like, hey, Megan, if you can string together a year of just healthy training, and if there's ever a day where you're in doubt of, should I run today or is that going to push me over the edge? Then don't. Go cross-train, take it off. Like, let's take a conservative approach. We talked to her about like, hey, sometimes confidence is what you don't do more than what you do. And a lot of people think that confidence is, doing all these big workouts and being very confident, but sometimes having confidence in your running is saying, I need to take today off. I'm confident in my abilities, but I can't do today. And so she has, knock on wood again, strung together some really good weeks, months of training, and it's paying off for her. And that's kind of what we told her last year of, hey, if you can string this together where you're healthy for a long period of time, you're talented, you work hard, right. It's going to pay off. So it was really exciting to see that.
Wes, how hard is that too? Because I think even at 48 years old, I struggle with that, like days to take, like it's having the mindset like, all right, I need to dial it back because I want to be at my best in 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it comes with experience sometimes, and sometimes, I mean, I haven't learned that lesson all the time yet myself, but it does, like she said, confidence, the discipline, because we as distance runners, we tend to be attracted to that, that feeling of working hard. And so sometimes it takes discipline to dial that back and be like, okay, today I'm going to cross train instead of run, or today I'm going to take the day off even. I mean, kids get sick and they're like, Coach, what should I do? I'm like, you're sick. It's a pretty simple solution. Take the day off,
So in your mind, what do you qualify as cross train? What does that mean in your world?
Like hopping on the bike, in the pool, on the elliptical trainer, those kind of things. It's still aerobic work. And some of our athletes do quite a bit of that now because we have athletes that can't handle a ton of miles, and so they replace it with cross training. And Megan's one of those athletes that's really embraced it.
Let's talk about Zach. He paced the men on the 8K, 24:35.9. What kind of year is he having?
A really good year. I mean, he's also a sophomore, just like Megan. He's, though Megan, I guess, is a freshman eligibility-wise, but Zach, they're both in the same class. Zach is a guy that's just really embraced the lifestyle to be a great distance runner, kind of the consistency required to be a great distance runner. He's upped his workload quite significantly from what he came in with a certain mindset out of high school, kind of thinking there was one way of doing things, the way he did things in high school, and we kind of let him learn along the way by following the example of some of the older athletes, and now he's completely flipped that mindset where I have to hold him back now. Like really, he'll run through a wall to be good. So that's kind of exciting.
If you guys can give us a little background on Arturo Barrios. I say it was an accent. I try not to. Arturo Barrios. Sorry. Just a little bit background. He ran here at A&M.
He ran at A&M, probably the greatest distance runner to come through Texas A&M. Went on. His most success was as a post-collegiate. He was the world record holder for 10,000 meters, multiple-time Mexican Olympian. I think his highest finish in the Olympics, I think he was 5th in 84 in the 10,000 meters.
And what do we want to see this weekend, Julia? Close us out.
We really want to see them having that experience and race that we had at the Texas A&M Invitational. We said we had a really high. We had our men's average was incredible. Our women were really working together. And so we want them to have, I don't want to say bounce back because it's not like Wisconsin was bad, but we want them after the race to have their same mindset they had after the last home meet. Because after the last home meet, they were like, we're having a great year. This is awesome. We got work to do, but we're excited. I want them to come up to us after the race excited about what just happened. That's kind of what I would like them to take away from it.
I agree.
Because I know they're fit, they're ready to race. I want them to feel that afterwards.
Feel it afterwards. Wes, Julia, thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, time to talk about your favorite place, car wash tradition. That's Aggieland Express Car Wash, friendliest staff and the personal touch that they have. They have 2 locations, William D. Fitch and, of course, the brand new one on Texas Avenue. That Texas Avenue location is the one that has the full service wash. You can do the wash at both of them, but the Texas Avenue one, they'll do it for you if you choose that option. And they're the newest service in town. They'll take care of all the cleaning, the drying, the vacuuming, armor, all interior, all under a completely covered patio. The place is fantastic. Check it out. And we're going to give a free one away right now. That's a $40 value. The first caller at 979-693-1150, you will get yourself a free car wash at the new location, 2528 Texas Avenue South in College Station. Across from the Planet Fitness is Aggieland Express. My thanks to Julia Abel and Wendell McRaven. Apologies to called him Wes, his cousin's name, because Wes and I are tight. All right, we're going to do this. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Got to catch up with Jim Turner yesterday. That's going to go live now on the show. And that is School in Session, brought to you by Duck Camp. Duck Camp gear made for people that live for the moments out there where there are fish to catch, birds to hunt, and football to watch. Check out the gear at duckcamp.com. Here he is, Jim Turner. School's in Session with Jim Turner, brought to you by Duck Camp. We're going to take a look, Coach Turner, at the Aggies' run discipline and how they kind of go about their business in the backfield.
Yeah, a little bit about how people teach the run game, and I'll show you just some of the different runs that they've been utilizing.
All right, take it away.
All right, so here you go, right? So let's just start this way. When you start in a zone run game, right, obviously it all starts with where is the back going, right? So if you ran outside zone right now, right, our back would be breaking at the outside leg of the play side tackle. He would read that player to that player. If you ran inside zone, okay, he would break right here at the A gap or right here at the outside leg of the guard, either one, and he would read that player to that player, okay, to decide where he's going to put the ball. And then if you ran bend back zone, okay, he would read the backside A gap to B gap and all the way out the back gate. What I want to show you today is this, okay? I want to show you these different combination blocks. Like when you call that play, whether you call that one, this one, or that one, it doesn't matter. You could call it the same play. It would be Charlie, right? We're going to block the C gap. It's an open-ended play. And then you would just say 28 Charlie, 24 Charlie, and 22 Charlie is the bend back. So the 8 tells them, okay, it's outside zone. The 4 tells them it's inside zone. The 2 tells them that it's bend back zone and we're trying to kick everything over. So even though it's the same combination calls, when that center comes up and you're running zone this way, it could be any one of those 3 zones. And right now, because he's covered, he's calling 4 down, single to that player right there. They're in a B block to that player right there, okay? He's all by himself, all right? And then he's in a backside cutoff back here. The bottom line is it doesn't matter, okay? It's the same exact calls, just blocked a different way, of course, because where we put the back is where the defense is going to go, all right? So this is how I want you to think now. I want you to think of these 2 players right here. These 2 players and these 2 players are in identical situation, almost identical, right? He's the covered player. He's the covered player. There's your linebacker. There's your linebacker. I want you to think about this now, okay? Every time that you're in any blocking situation, whether it's running the ball or throwing the ball, you're either covered, so how they think up front, you're either covered or you're uncovered. He's the covered player. That's on him. That player could be there, head up, or an outside shade. He's the covered player in this blocking scheme. He's the uncovered player, okay? In this blocking scheme going this way, I'm the covered player. I'm the uncovered player. It's that simple. And they both have rules, which I'll get into in another conversation. What I want to talk about today is this, okay? These 2 players right now, all right, if we ran outside zone right now, okay, this linebacker right here would be 1 of 4 places. Plus an off my body, plus an on my body, talking about him, minus an on my body, minus an off my body. And you're going to see right now, right, if you ran outside zone right now, he's going to go that way. So we got to get him up and we got to take that, and he's trying to take that over right now. If we run tight zone right now, okay, now he's going to play more downhill because the ball's going to come here. So it's going to be in a more of a lift technique right there. And then if we ran backside, bend back zone, now he would be collecting, he would be trying to be knocked that onto his lap and put him through. He would be collecting, he'd be trying to knock that onto his lap and put him through. So there's a whole theory that goes in to what you're trying to do to the defense. The great thing about this is they don't know. They don't know on defense, right? They're going to feel it almost similar right off the bat, okay? And then, it's still a single to them. It's still those 2 are blocking me. And then I have to figure out on defense, where is the ball going? That's why a lot of times the backs, it looks identical, like their approach to the quarterback right now. A lot of times if you run outside zone, the approach is the same as tight zone, and then you break it out. The same as tight zone, and then you break it back on bend back zone. And, of course, tight zone being the base, all right? So you're going to hear me say things like this as we go through all this stuff down the road. Right here, right? So if he's plussed and off my body, I'd be gone. I have to go right now because he's going to break on the ball on outside zone. Okay, if he's plussed and on my body like right here, I'd be in a hand check. I'd be hand checking my way out. Okay, and then if he's minus and on my body because the ball's going to the right, this is the minus. If this is outside zone. If he's minus and on my body, okay, I'd be in a Rico. I'm going to bang and I'm going to get out. And then if he's minus and off my body, I'm in a lift technique, whether it's outside zone, tight zone, or anything, it doesn't matter. If he's minusing off my body, the ball's going here, I know he's going to be right there. I'm going to stay here for a while. A lot of times you'll see a guy go through an outside zone, and the center's chasing this guy, and you're like, why didn't the guard help longer? To me, it's logic. If the linebacker's all the way back there, we're in a lift. If he's right here, he's minusing on my body, I'm in a Rico. If he's plussed it on my body, I'm in a hand check. And if he's plussed it off my body, I'm in a gone call right there. Okay, so what does that look like? I'm talking about that player right there and that player right there. Okay, if I'm gone, that means I'm gone. I'm out of here, right? Now, if I'm in a hand check just looks like this. He's zone steps, and he's just going to give you hand help just like that. That's a hand check. Okay, a Rico, you're going to see him do this, and he's going to lift through 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he's going to get out. He's going to ricochet out. And then a lift technique. I'm going to be here, and I'm totally lifting him, totally lifting him, totally lifting him. I'm totally blocking that player. So those are the 4 different looks that you will get from that player, okay? So watch now. If you just ran that, that's outside zone. If you ran tight zone, okay, plussed it off my body, plussed it on my body, okay, that's a Rico. I'm always going to block him. I'm never just going through ever unless he walks down. Okay, if he's minused it on my body, minused it off my body, now I'm going to be in a lift technique. So wide zone, this would be gone. Okay, hand check, Rico, lift. Okay, tight zone. Both of these, okay, are Ricos. Both of these minuses, okay, are lifts. And now on bend back zone, okay, it's backside man off blocking. So now you're going to see Eric right here, the center. He would go like this, and he'd be trying to knock it onto my lap. If I'm this player, I'd be grabbing him, and I'd be trying to pull him over right now and trying to get him off backside, trying to get him off, okay, to get the ball backside. And that's what you're trying to do. You're saying, we're going to knock you out of that gap. We're going to send you over there and get the center through. We're going to knock you over there and send the backside tackle through and bend the ball back. In the NFL, they call that duo. You can call that bend back zone as well. Let me just show you real quick. All right, so this is a look at it right here, right? So this is us running the play right there. All right, so this would be tight zone right here. Watch the center and the right guard. So this is tight zone, so that linebacker's plussed, okay? And on my body, this is a Rico right here. Center's trying to put it on his lap, does a great job. Look at the backside. Okay, this linebacker back here, right? This guy back here, he's going to minus it on my body. This is a lift technique. That's a lift. Look at him.
All right, the rest of that is going to be on our premium boards. Go to TexAgs.com and become a premium subscriber. It'll be on the Billy Lucci board. So appreciate Jim Turner coming on the show for that. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Aaron Torres. Right now, FBS Appliance and their team of experts are here to help you find the appliances that make your house a home. They have all the top brands that make life easier with the appliances to fit any budget, and they pride themselves on offering a comprehensive solution that sets them apart from the competition. They specialize in providing top-notch sales and installation, and their commitment to customer satisfaction is at the core of everything that they do. They offer expert installation carried out by skilled technicians. They are right down the road right here in College Station on Wellborn, right by the TexAgs studio, but they have 8 great showrooms across Texas. Find them online at factorybuilderstores.com. It's FBS Appliance. Welcome back in TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Boss Firearms Hotline. That's where we find Aaron Torres here from Fox Sports Radio, and of course Aaron Torres online, and it is around college football, brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. AT, what up, buddy?
David, how you doing? I don't know if it was a vacation, but how was whatever you did the last couple of days when you weren't on air with me?
Couple days, I'll call it a vacation. I went fishing with my sons and some buddies, and I watched a lot of soccer with my kids, and watched a lot of college football this weekend. What'd you end up doing?
I worked like I do every week, my friend. I mean, no off weeks on the national level, but yeah, no, I knew you took a few days, and you deserve it. You deserve it. Team's playing well. We still got a few things to button up, but glad you had some time off. Nick did an excellent job when you were out last week.
So you said just a second ago, no days off on the national level, huh?
What do you got?
I feel like that was a shot at us local level people, the local level that sets the bar for the national level. I thought that was a little shot.
Well, you asked me what I did with my time off, and I said I didn't have time off. I mean, I'm on air every Saturday, and
I remember you taking some time off during this football season at some point where you couldn't do the show a couple times. That's interesting. I remember that, huh?
Well, I mean, I was traveling last week. I was back in Connecticut to have some meetings about some stuff, some top secret stuff. I mean, tomorrow I'm speaking at an event, so I have to travel. It doesn't mean I'm taking a day off.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What did Bill Belichick say?
Hey.
What did Bill Belichick say? No days off. No days off.
Well, you know what? There's no days off as a parent, and that comes first. But I know. So, hey, anyway, let's talk a little bit about this weekend. Starkville.
Wow. So now you're taking shots at non-parents. Okay, that's good to know.
This is not the election, Aaron. We're not going there. We're not going election talk on TexAgs Live.
I was going to say.
All right?
I don't have any cats, though. That's the thing. I'm not an angry cat guy. So a little bit of an angry dog guy sometimes when my dog doesn't listen to what I say. But anyway, no. We're not going there.
You're definitely a freeway guy. There's no doubt about that. Anyway, let's get into Starkville. We love to kid with each other. Let's talk a little Starkville. A place A&M has struggled to win. A team that A&M should have no problem beating. They're double-digit. I think they're favored by 15.5. Like, this is a game A&M should have. But give me a reason that we should be concerned, if there is a reason.
Well, Nick and I talked about this last week. Concern isn't the right word, but listen, I mean, Connor Wigman probably played the best game of his career 2 weeks ago against Missouri. Now, I know you could argue that start against LSU as a true freshman, I get all of it. But, I mean, and I readily admitted this to Nick last week, is I was kind of one of those, hey, Marcel Reed's winning games, can't put a guy on the bench who's winning. And it's like, no. When Connor Wigman looks like Connor Wigman looked against Missouri, you play Connor freaking Wigman. And so, listen, this is why coaches get paid a lot more money than me. They know a lot more than me. But the reason I bring it up is I think the reason, the question that you asked is what would be a concern? And again, concern probably isn't the right word, but it's just a reality, is the Connor Wigman that you're getting when Missouri probably didn't have a full week to prepare for him. We're probably anticipating Marcel Reed at home. Are you getting that guy on the road against the Mississippi State team that does know that he's playing and that is at home? So to me, that's, again, concern's not the right word, but that's where I would have hesitation to say, oh, A&M's going to go on the road and roll. I mean, if this was Wigman's third, fourth, fifth start in a row and he had looked like this the whole time, that's a different conversation than one really good game against Missouri. And again, we'll see if he can keep it up. There's no reason to think that he can't, but you want to see it obviously over more than a 1 week sample size.
AT, running the ball and controlling the line of scrimmage. I don't know. Well, let me rephrase that. Controlling the line of scrimmage, offensive line and defensive line, something I think A&M is doing a great job of. Who in college football do you see that is controlling both sides?
Well, I hate to say it. Probably that team that's visiting, Thanksgiving weekend to Aggie land. I mean, and I think last week, to me, and I've said since the Michigan game, Texas is the best team that I've seen. But I think because it's Sark, because it's Quinn Ewers, you have this idea in your head that they got to score 50 points to win, that it's Lincoln Riley and USC. And that defense is elite. Now, Oklahoma, I don't think, is very good on the offensive side of the football. Their O-line is very much struggling. Because of it, they're playing the true freshman that creates a little bit more with his legs. But I don't think it changes the fact that Texas is really good on both sides of the ball, veteran on both sides of the ball. You know, they were really building towards this season. I think the stat is, you know, the 22 starters, I think like 20 of them are third or fourth year guys. So they're the one that immediately comes to mind that is really dominating both sides of the ball at the line of scrimmage. There are others, but that's the one that definitely to me stands out alongside Texas A&M.
AT, 15 seconds or left. Let's just say this. Are you not a little concerned that Texas hasn't taken on a real offense?
We're going to find out this weekend. I know we're tight on time, but that's the big question. Georgia, criticize them for whatever, but they are battle-tested in a way Texas isn't, and that's what's most intriguing about that game to me.
AT, have a great weekend, buddy. Work hard, of course. Have a good one, man. Later, man. Aaron Torres. Half the time we were kind of BSing, and then the other half we talked football. More Fan Show next. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the
Fan Show.
I like the way you did it. I like that. That was good. Can you do it again?
Fan Show.
And now everybody who fixed our microphones is upset. It is presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. Is guaranteed. Go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to receive those $50 once you play those $5 lineups. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fan Show guys are here. Hello, Matt Browning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good to see you. I'm good. I'm good.
Today is the day the Lord has made.
Yes. Give me some right there.
We shall rejoice and be glad in it.
Hunter Shurtleff. Hello, sir.
Hey, man.
What's up, brother?
Good.
Roy Mack gave you fist pound earlier. What's up?
What up?
We're all in a good mood.
I am.
Bro's jacked this morning. I dig it.
It's like to light me up. Like, let's go.
A lot of caffeine. Oh, and Matt Browning's microphone wasn't working. There you go. That's what happens when Roy May sings out loud.
That was on purpose. We're trying to tone Browning down on the show.
Yeah, that was. No, don't come in and fix that.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center because Juan Palomo's there. And Juanito, I want you to start us off with the first question of the day.
Oh.
Matt. Hey. Hey, thanks, buddy.
What's on your mind, Matt? I don't know
What's
if
on my
Juan's
mind?
mic was on.
My mic is working, I'm hoping. So, what is on my mind? Well, obviously, this weekend.
Yep.
You're going into a game that, it's some mixed emotions, right? Especially for fans, right? You've got a team that we're really jazzed about.
Mm-hmm.
I used the word jazzed. But we're really excited about going into a place that we have to go play a team that's not very good, but in a place where we have really struggled. And so there's still some apprehension, I think, from a lot of people. Everybody's still in that kind of wait and see mode, which is kind of crazy after, we've won 5 in a row, won them pretty handedly, looked pretty good. And now we're going to a place to play one of the worst teams we've played this year. But at a place where, like you said, has been a house of horrors for us in the past. And so I was telling Hunter and I were talking outside, and I was like, this is one of those that if you go in and you win this game like you're supposed to win it, right? You're getting past the feelings of the past, the Jimbo / Kevin Sumlin years where you won. We finally won a road game, right? And won it handedly, right? Mm-hmm. We've turned around. We've beaten a team that we surprisingly beat, a team that we dominated, a team that we didn't think we would dominate. You go in here and you win this handedly. Let's say it's over by halftime kind of thing. That is when we'll really start going, okay, this is different. This is but we're still. It's funny, we're still in that wait and see mode.
See, I'm not in wait and see. Mm-mm. I'm not. I actually am all in. But here's my but. But I understand the SEC.
Yeah.
So if this A&M team played in the Big 12, they're in the national championship conversation, right? Mm-hmm. And they still may be in the SEC. But because I recognize that bad teams beat good teams every year, especially this year with the parity in the SEC,
yes,
that's my more wait and see. Like
Correct.
If you don't bring your A+ game, not just your A game, your A+ game, somebody can beat you.
Yeah, I guess what it is just in years past, this is a game we would probably lose, right? I don't know how. We lost. Hey, we lost a lot of games. We had way more talent. And
we
better
found
teams.
ways to do it.
Yeah, we find ways to lose these games, but with this coaching staff and preparation, and if they really are taking it one game at a time, that's
Yep. We're about to find out.
That's right.
Well, I got to talk to Matt before the show. I thought he's full blown battered Aggie syndrome.
Yeah.
He is so worried about this game.
So brutal.
And I said, look, I'm confident, but nervous, right? Because it's a road game. And in the past, Mississippi State's had a good program, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Dan Mullen and Mike Leach, right? And I think that led to some of their success because they were good, and they actually, especially during Mullen's years, they had good lines, O-line, D-line. But I'm not as worried about this weekend, right? And we said it for a decade on this show, right? And it's different now that we're not in the SEC West, but you got to beat the Mississippi schools. And I'm not dogging them because they've had good teams. Ole Miss they've had some good years, right? Yeah. They had the back-to-back Alabama wins, and they were going to the Sugar Bowls. And, I mean, they've put together some wins when we've kind of, most of the time, we're locked in that 75, 8, and 4. Yeah. Right, so I'm not dogging them. They have good programs, good SEC programs.
Well,
but But when we
be where we
weren't
expect to be.
consistently beating to say 70% of the time the Mississippi schools, that was a big reason why we were kind of stuck in the mud for a while. But I'm feeling pretty good about this one.
Good. The battery Aggie syndrome. I want to give him my heart so bad, but
Give him your heart.
I'm just still.
Either way, it's going to hurt if it happens. If you give them your heart now or later, like it's going to hurt if it. So just go all in, because if you don't get to enjoy these moments, I know you're enjoying them, by the way.
No, I am.
You're watching college football.
Yeah,
right?
all day. Yeah.
But if you don't enjoy them now, when are we going to enjoy it? Let's enjoy it for a long time.
I need to grow a pair.
I've never seen enjoyment with so much trepidation in all my life. So I thought, Missouri win, right, going to the bye week, and so we got to enjoy a week of football. Like the greatest thing is to be able to watch football and not care, right?
Yes.
Right? I picked the Ducks to win. Thank you very much.
You did? Yeah.
I did. I picked the Ducks to win. But I thought that this would, you get the week of practice like Max Wright talked about, you got a couple of days of like, it's back on full pads, let's play, in that week leading to the bye, and then, your focus shifts to the next game. And little did I know that a bye week would make battered Aggie syndrome exponentially worse. It's pathetic. Y'all are pathetic. I'm looking right in the camera, whichever one. Y'all are pathetic, all right? Like, get over it. We just absolutely housed Missouri, all right? We beat Arkansas. We're undefeated in the SEC after 3 conference games, all right? And we're going, like, goodness gracious, what is wrong with y'all? I get that Stark Vegas has been a difficult place to play for what I can only fathom is no reason, except for those awful white uniforms with the silver state of Texas on the front. That's why we lost that game. That was just a poor decision.
God, I love those.
Oh, God, I think they were the worst uniforms.
Because everybody says that because we got hammered.
Those are like high school uniforms. It's like mom ironed on the,
All right, maybe the jersey's not so much. The helmet was pretty.
The helmet was, the helmet was sweet. The jerseys were
all right, we'll meet in the middle.
But here we go. But look, we're going to play a 1-5 Mississippi State team that's 1-5 for a reason. All right. Oh my gosh, they have this freshman quarterback. Oh my gosh, this and that. Holy crap! It's a 1-5 Mississippi State team. We're 3-0 in conference. We've gone on the road and beat Florida. We've beat Arkansas on a neutral site. We beat what we said was an overrated Missouri team. But we absolutely curb stomped them.
Our Missouri team is going to win 9 or 10 games.
They're still going to win plenty of games. They're not. They're already out of the playoffs, quite frankly, because I think traveling to Massachusetts as an SEC team to play a football game should automatically disqualify.
If they win out, they get in. If they're 11-1, if they beat Bama, they're in.
Right, but I don't think we expect that to happen. Right. But we beat a good Missouri team, all right, and we're going to play a bad Mississippi State team, and I get it. I get it. I was there. Trust me. Max Wright hit the nail on the head. My God, the cowbells are awful. They are terrible. But the cowbells get real quiet real fast if you just put up some points.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm the opposite of BAS this week. Of course, I'm the pumper.
You're taking you're more than points.
I'm more. Give me anything, and I'm saying more than.
They're a strange team a little bit. That they seem like slow starters this year. They got way behind at Arizona State early in the year. But I give them credit. They just keep fighting because they came back in that game, got it close. Slow start in Austin, but kept it close for a half. Slow start in Georgia, kept it close, and then got down big and then came back. I mean, so I don't think they were really challenging Georgia. I'm not going there, but I'm just saying that they're not going to quit, right?
No.
So this, hopefully you're up big at half.
I think there's some props to be given to Levy for that exact reason, because the Georgia score was not as close as the final score. Like if you watch the game or even watch highlights, you know that a lot of that was garbage time. But they keep fighting. But
Bowling Green, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and I think Texas and Georgia games show you that they just don't have the talent. I mean, that's what you can fight all day long, and heart is worth. You can't quantify heart, right? But if you don't have the talent, you don't have the talent. There's a reason that Rudy only played 2 snaps, right? All the heart in the world just doesn't matter.
And he was offsides. But the one thing is I will say that if the thing that gives me the most confidence is if I hear freshman quarterback going against a Mike Elko defense, that kind of you go, all right, you salivate a little bit because look, I get Kirby Smart went against a Mike or freshman quarterback last week, and the kid played pretty well, but I mean, you're not surprising anybody this week. They're aware of him. They're aware of what he can do. I mean, DJ Lagway had a really good game right before he played us too, and he
struggled a bit.
He struggled.
Yeah. So we're 11 minutes into it. I don't know. Have you told me what's on your mind? Was that kind of?
No, I was asking maybe Juan would tee me up and ask me the question.
Well, Juan, would you like to ask Hunter the question?
Hunter, what's on your mind?
Well, here's what's on my mind. I was just talking to OB in the hallway about this. Hey, Texas plays somebody this week.
They do?
Finally, right? It has been, last year, and I'm going to big time credit. They went to Tuscaloosa in September of 23, right?
And
beat Nick Saban. Yeah. Jalen Milroe, they did all that. They won. Big time credit, right? And then they didn't beat anybody else the rest of the year. I mean, they struggled against Houston, I think, the next week. OU beat them. Had to go overtime to Kansas State because Kansas State's coach is an idiot and should have won it, right?
Exactly.
And TCU they squeaked out of. Got beat by Washington. Did win the Big 12 championship game, so they beat Oak State, I guess. Look, I think they're okay. They're pretty good, but really excited to see what Georgia can do there.
I think they're pretty good.
Yeah. But we don't.
Top 5 good?
I'll give them top 5 right now.
I mean, they've won the games they're supposed to win the way they're supposed to win them.
They're convincingly, by the way.
You can only do what you can do with the team.
They're hammering bad teams right now.
Yes.
But we're going to see what their defense is made of because
it's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it is
like
it
an
is
actual quarterback.
It is a little bit of when you beat Michigan and Oklahoma. Right, those are names.
Right?
Yeah, it's the names that sound good. You beat the reigning national champion,
a team that's going to win 8 games, and a team that's going to win 7 games.
Yeah, these are not good football teams, and so Obi made a good point about who's the best quarterback they faced so far this year. So,
and I walked in, I said me, and Obi was like maybe.
So Beck will definitely be the best quarterback they faced this year.
Yes.
But does it not cause a little bit of pause, like? This is not the Georgia we're used to seeing.
Absolutely
not.
Yeah.
But I think Georgia's road test. They start out at Atlanta, played Clemson, which was kind of that was a rock fight, right? That was actually a slugfest.
Clemson's not a bad
first half.
Georgia just grinded and started putting away. They went to Kentucky and absolutely had another rock fight. And Kentucky, Georgia looked horrible on offense. Credit to Kentucky's defense that night.
Mm-hmm.
Who else in Georgia played?
Alabama.
The stunner at Alabama, right?
28-0, and then they
came flying back. That was a game. That was a fun game. So
in Mississippi State. So I just think Georgia's more tested, and I early on because they've seen those tests. It's going to be interesting to see if Georgia can kind of jump on them.
Well, even though that was a conference win, the Red River Shootout doesn't feel like an SEC game. It might in another 5 to 10 years, but it's not. Yeah. So you got a conference win, but you didn't play you just played somebody who hopped in the tailgate as you were hitching a ride to the SEC, basically to Birmingham. So
this will be the biggest regret they've ever had in Oklahoma, by the way. Coming here.
And Nuño said earlier he's talking about OU wins 7 games. You're
not even sure about that.
No, they're not going to get. They have 4 wins right now, right? So I'm going to get them to 5. I'm going to look and make sure. I'm going to get them to 5 because they play Maine in a couple of weeks.
Black Bears.
Okay, South Carolina.
Where?
It's in Norman this weekend.
Okay.
I'm going to take South Carolina there. Ole Miss at Ole Miss, at Missouri, Bama, and LSU. They ain't getting 7 wins.
They might win the only one left is
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
So that's 6 wins.
Maybe. I said maybe. The rest of those are I don't see them even having a chance.
What are you gonna say?
They can beat Missouri.
Yeah, they can beat Missouri.
I don't know.
I think
OU's offense can keep up with Missouri.
No, OU's defense can keep Missouri from them having to keep up with Missouri.
Man,
that's the only shot they have. It's just like we said going to the Red River Shootout. Well, we weren't here, but I said it. So just believe me. Like the only way OU was going to win that was to turn that game into an absolute rock, like just dirty, gross game. That's the only way OU was going to beat Sips, and they just couldn't do it.
15 minutes in, now we get to find out what's on Roy May's mind. This is great. This is less prep for me in the future.
Oh my.
Continue on, Roy.
When I talked about a little bit with the BAS stuff, but what's on my mind, and I know everybody, the weather's changing, right? It's hoodie season. Hunter's
finally got his vest on.
Rocking it out. Everybody's in a good mood because it's chilly, but it's still nice and warm.
Juan's got a sweatshirt on,
right?
Yeah.
It's pleasant, right? What's on my mind is how excited I am for this weekend. Coming off the bye, and what's funny is in those 2 weeks, obviously you're not going to see any coverage about a team that's on a bye, but it's like it almost completely dropped off. Just talking about A&M, we moved up a spot without playing, which is always always a positive. But just basically for all the naysayers out there, and whether they're in national media like they're going to Starkville and they're coming off a bye week and off a huge win, are they going to fall? You see all these narratives, and probably about 90% of that is on the boards. What a great opportunity just to walk into Starkville and just kick them right in the junk, right? This is a bad Mississippi State team. There's no two ways about it, right? They don't have the talent. That's the problem.
They struggle stopping the run, stopping the pass. That seems like a bad recipe.
That seems like a bad matchup.
Bad offensive line.
Yeah, not so great, Bob.
They get sacked a lot.
I mean, if you were willing to drive the 10.5 hours, you can get $40 tickets right now. It was like $120
good seats.
Yeah, it was like $120 to sit in a suite. All right, like the Bulldog fans are kind of
they're out.
Yeah,
they were out early. Have you seen their attendance? 41,000, 45,000. I mean, they've already quit.
Yeah, that's like high school football, playoff games. Yeah, in Texas. So it's I love this because it's a great spring. We talked about a springboard right in the season. We talked about that before the Missouri game. You want to talk about a springboard? Come off a bye, go stomp Mississippi State, and then you can puff your chest all you want to because all of a sudden everybody's looking at you going, "Oh crap, we got to play A&M."
Right.
So I'm excited. I'm thrilled. Had softball game, had baseball scrimmages. Like the weather's great.
We're good.
I'm flying.
On the other side, I got a topic that I started the show off with. I'll bring up to you guys. Right now, we got to hit a break. We'll talk a little Varsity Grill House. I went there for lunch yesterday. It was fantastic. I got the ribeye tacos. I got the 3-pack. It was fantastic. And here's one thing I can tell you about the ribeye tacos. They fill them up so much that when you pick them up, meat falls out. Now, I think that's a good thing because then you get extra meat. It's like when French fries in the bag, like, your kids, you give them the French fries, there's extra meat when you go to Varsity Grill House. It is a cool sports bar / restaurant, classy, a place to take your wife, a place to go hang out with friends, watch games, they had ESPN on yesterday. We had a good time being there, and it's a great place to go eat and enjoy. Varsity Grill House, home for good times and great food. Hopefully we'll see you there. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the fan show brought to you by Prize Picks. I want to speak a moment for Rollo Insurance. The difference is real. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish your insurance goals. They can write any form of insurance, and they've got 60 offices in the great state of Texas, but their headquarters is on Highway 6 right here in College Station. They can take care of your homeowners insurance, car owners insurance, farmers, ranchers, you name it, business owners. Yeah, they're the best when it comes out to it. 888-44-ROLLO, go to ROLLOinsurance.com, 888-44-ROLLO, ROLLOinsurance.com. Gentlemen.
Browning with the dynamite drop in there.
Well, I got to give them credit. I'm going to give one quick shout out to our sponsor, Rollo. So I had an issue this last week, not an insurance, but it was trying to get them some information to a homeowner versus a different company, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they all dropped what they were doing to come and help me, and so Rollo, I cannot say enough good things about them.
Scripted spots are one thing, testimonials are a whole nother.
That is
I could not be happier.
Google review them?
Yeah, hit Google review them. I will too.
All right, I wanted to bring this up because at the top of the show we discussed it. There's 2 teams in the SEC with 3 programs. Am I saying this right? In the top 15. A&M baseball's in the top 15. A&M basketball's in the top 15. A&M football's in the top 15.
That's
the only
UT.
other in
UT.
Texas, University of Tennessee.
Yeah, UT.
Yeah, the real UT. Yeah.
The real UT. Yeah.
But I'm sure we've had that in the last few years, but like right now, what I told OB, it feels sustainable. Roy.
So this is funny because, I drive around a lot for my job, so I listen to AM radio basically until Feinbaum comes on, right?
You're out on Feinbaum?
Sorry, Paul, you called me by the wrong name to my face. So
I made that mistake today.
But and I saw Louis mentioned this earlier this week. Are we entering the golden age of Aggie athletics? Even those 3, let's talk a little bit further. Like our golf programs, right? All right, fine, golf, whatever it is.
I love it, yeah.
I love it, right? If it's a maroon and white, I follow it. Joni Taylor building a program. Trisha Ford, maybe we are top 15, right? So, men's basketball, volleyball. But yeah, Jamie's trying to build a monster over there. Are we talking about like are we entering the golden age right now? I mean, think about the coaches that we have across every program, and then think about could you give me 3 coaches in the sport that you would rather have, right? And I know that, like, I get that there's the Calipars in the world, but like, could you imagine wanting anybody other than Buzz right now, right? And having early, like, I think we're all bought in. We bought in as soon as he was like, he showed up to Austin and went, "Yep, U-turn."
Yeah.
And so this really could be an amazing era across the board. You're talking about like the Director's Cup or whatever the crap that is.
So let me pause you there because, and I don't have the BAS that we may have. I have a little bit at times. But the reason I pause you is I remember when I did the first preseason kickoff that Gabe interviewed me, I made that comment. I think we're entering the golden era of Aggie sports because I felt coming off of the 2020 season and football season and what we had seen with Schloss coming over and what I thought of basketball. Buzz's team didn't get to go to the tournament. They were getting hot right before. And I was like, this is it, guys. We're here. It's taken 3 years. But I believe it now. I really do believe it.
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with, and we'd love to do this as Aggies, right? This coach gets us. It gets A&M, right? Well, that doesn't always work out, right? But it turns out that we have this kind of great mix of coaches that get us, but established coaches. So, like, that's a really much better take than he gets A&M. He gets A&M, but he's also good at his job. That should have been like a little bit of that. And I think it also comes from years, and you guys are with me, or years of seeing the wrong coaches hired. And sometimes holding on to the wrong coaches for too long. And so what I think we've seen, and on top of that, like a change at athletic director, where I think a lot of people were a little hesitant about, I don't know about this guy. I think everything that I've seen, and not just from a coach or a sport, but from an athletic department kind of perspective, everything seems to be moving in a positive direction. And so you have maybe not golden era in the sense that we're going to win 4 championships this year in sports, but the Director's Cup, we always make fun of stuff, but it really kind of does matter. It means you're successful across your entire athletic department.
Yep.
It just takes what it took was just going, hey, you know what? That's it. We're going to get the best coaches now. We're going to go get the best coaches we can absolutely get. Not go, hey, you know what? We haven't been historically good at, I don't know, volleyball. Just go get a coach and call it a day. No, we're investing in all the programs across the board. The money's obviously flowing now in there where for many years it didn't. And so you can see the commitment to being better across the board. And I think that has a lot to do with it's because we're in the SEC. The SEC, I mean, Big 12 days, that stuff didn't matter as much.
But now, football, baseball, and those, whatever.
And then now across the board, everything seems like it's moving in the right direction. Every single one. And
I mean,
a lot of fun.
To give Bill Burns some credit here, the late '90s and the building champions, but we were kicking butt in a ton of Big 12 sports, right? Not just the Big Three, right? But that's but where I'm going with this. What you're saying is right. To do it in this conference, in all these sports, is even more impressive because this conference cares about all the other sports.
Every sport,
the softball, the track, the volleyball. It's loaded.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, I'm going to ask you another question that's kind of along the same lines, but with a different topic. Are you guys all bought in on Connor being the guy again? I'm not saying that you were ever off, but like, is the Missouri game enough, or are you like, I still want to see more? Because I feel like if you look at Connor's resume, there's been more hits than misses.
Well, to kind of like what Roy said out in the green room, basically we've basically had two full games of Connor this year, right? Notre Dame and Missouri, right? And obviously for us it depends on which one we get, but he's shown that he can do it. We know he can do it, and so yeah, I'm completely fine with it. I'm bought in with it. I think when he's throwing the ball like he did against Missouri, we're going to be a really, really, really hard team to beat.
I never got off the bus. I mean, I've seen these people that say that we're going, well, he's never done anything. He's never played good.
That's not true.
It's not. It's so stupid. Go back to his freshman year. His first start, he threw for like 350 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
He beat a top 10 LSU team with a 5-7 roster.
And not crazy.
Temples.
Not crazy stats that game, but he's accurate. He gets rid of the ball. He knows when to run. So I've always been on his train, and I'm glad he's back. He looked great. He's got a super good attitude, it seems like right now. Maybe kind of finally this year he did step into some leadership role and a little tougher. So we're going to be fine.
I'm going to preface this by saying thank you, Marcel Reed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And you're going to be a baller. Just please be patient, right? Because the Connor we saw against Missouri was stupid. Like, that's ridiculous.
Stupid being good.
Yes, stupid good. Yay. And again, I know we have the Notre Dame blip, right? It's worst QBR in the nation that week, right? And so we all know the stats. But what Connor can do and what he can deliver from the pocket with his arm, you talked about it. He's elite. And I think for me, the most exciting part that I saw from the Missouri game was, well, it's probably two-sided. One, stability in the pocket, right? Remember, Notre Dame was the happy feet, right? That was the national narrative, was happy feet, right? Stability in the pocket while he's going through his progressions, and pulling the ball down and running without any fear, right? Because I think when you've been injured a couple years in a row and you're a mobile quarterback, there's always a concern when you go run, right?
Especially off a shoulder injury.
Yeah, shoulder injury, you had a foot injury, like you get hit in the wrong place and your first thought is, here I go again. I'm what's his name? Cam Rising, going for my 9th year in college kind of thing, right? And so I think the confidence running the ball was almost better for me to see than his stability in the pocket. But the stability in the pocket goes so deep too, like offensive line, Jim Turner's, like there's so many parts to that.
Yeah.
But I think his ability, his mentality to be able to pull it down and run, fearless. It was fearless running. Like he wasn't Tom Brady and,
I was like begging him to get down and slide.
Yeah.
There's probably a happy medium being there.
He was having none of that.
And the fact that our run game has gotten has progressively gotten better as we've gone through the season is only going to help him. You're talking, you're not going to have people just teeing off, he's going to have time in the pocket.
But we're going to have a problem in Mississippi State, right, Browning?
Let's hit a break here. By the way, Andrew Monaco sent a nice text. He's listening to the show. Monaco, you're the best buddy, a mentor to many people here in this profession. So shout out to Andrew Monaco. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll do a little prize picks, more than, less than. I wasn't with you guys last week. I did send in my picks. I don't know how I did. We're about to find out. Right now, we're talking Heritage Films. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website. They make documentary films about families, about family businesses, family ranches, you name it. They can tell that story. Chance McClain is the guy who started the company. He's the founder of it. He's one of the most creative guys I know. Was my boss when I worked in radio in Houston for a long, long time. The guy just does everything. He's done Broadway musicals. He's done movies. He does radio stations, you name it. And now he does Heritage Films, telling the 2-hour family documentary. Have Chance be an eye in the sky at a cool event. Have him come out to an Aggie tailgate. Have him come for Christmas. Maybe not Christmas Day, but whatever great holiday you want to have. Let Chance be there and tell that story. Interview the members of your family. Get some old footage and just have a cool 2-hour documentary done about your family. The website is YourHeritageFilm.com. YourHeritageFilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. And we're back on the Fan Show presented by Prize Picks here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We're going to go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. The Matthew Dawson now taking over there for a few minutes to do a little more than, less than.
Whoa, a Matthew Dawson. He's not the Matthew Dawson.
Oh, sorry.
There's a Matthew Dawson that plays rugby in Australia.
See?
So I'd say he's probably the Matthew Dawson. I'm just
another.
I'm another one. Yeah, I kind of get lost.
You play rugby?
I do not. My cousins though, they live in London. So.
Is there any more Roy Mays? I bet there's a lot of Roy Mays out there.
I don't think so.
No, there's not.
Just him?
Yeah.
Well,
look,
I think there's more Matt Brownings than Roy Mays if I were to do a Google search.
If you Google it, I did Google it one time, and there was some sort of like character from a book, some book series some lady wrote, and so the main character's name is Matt Browning.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want
He sounds like the guy trying to do the book report because he just read the back flap.
Yeah, right.
We had a tough week at the table last week. I'm going to say, hey, let's move forward. All right. But I will updated standings. Still have Hunter sitting there in first.
Of course.
He's about 500. And then you got Matt and David tied, 31 and 37. So not great.
Nuño went 500.
And then we got Roy bringing up the rear, although he had some extraneous circumstances last week, so he didn't have such a great week.
I had no idea what anybody was playing.
Did I go 6-6 last week?
You went
6-6.
What is that bad?
6-6 is good.
Okay,
you had a stinker the week before, which is kind of what put you down a little bit. But
well, I think the news of the week though is that Shirtliff is mortal.
Yeah,
I think that's the news of the week.
That's a rough week.
Well, let's get into it right
prize
now.
picks too.
Let's get into it. We've got about 8 minutes to play with.
First one, we got Cam Ward, the quarterback of Miami. Is he going to have more than or less than 324.5 passing yards against Louisville?
At Louisville, right?
At Louisville.
Yes.
Ooh, I'm gonna go less.
It's not Louisville. It's Louisville.
Louisville.
Oh.
Well, Louisville Sluggers.
Let's just go. Are we going down the road and make it easy?
I'm going to say less than.
I'm going more because he's a one-man show.
It's just a massive number. I've got to go less.
It is a big number. Tough game, too. Tough game. Brady Cook, the quarterback of Missouri. Is he going to have more than or less than 240.5 passing yards against Auburn?
I'm going to have to say more on this one. I think that his receivers are just too darn good.
More than.
I'm going more than with our old defense coordinator over there.
Yep, more.
Ooh, is that a more across the board?
More across the board.
That's how you know it's going.
Hey, now we know he's going to pass for less.
Exactly. Jalen Milroe is the quarterback of Alabama. Is he going to have more than or less than 228.5 passing yards? He's playing against Tennessee. It's the third Saturday in October.
Tennessee early on showed they had a really good defense. Since then, not so good. More than.
I'm gonna go more.
Yeah, I'm going less than that atmosphere, Tennessee's defense, and he's using his legs more.
I have a hard time betting against him right now statistically, so I'm gonna go more.
All righty, let's move on. Last quarterback we're going to talk about.
Easy.
Huge game. Quinn Ewers, quarterback of Texas. Is he going to have more than or less than 258.5?
He sucks. Their whole team sucks. Everything about him sucks. He's going less.
Georgia's secondary has been a little suspect at times this year. The running game has been better than expected at Texas because of all the injuries. I'm going to go less than. It sounded like I was going one direction, but I went the.
It did. I tell you, Quinn's good.
Too soon.
Sark knows how to use a passing offense, and I really think they're going to get behind early, so they're going to be passing. I'm taking more than.
I think this game is going to be an absolute shootout because both defenses suck. So,
Texas's defense hasn't given up any points.
They haven't played anybody yet.
This is true.
I think Carson Beck is going to expose their secondary, and I think Quinn Ewers, unfortunately, can sling the ball, and they have some dynamic playmakers. This is more than all day.
Yeah, Carson Beck has been playing well. He's been playing very well.
What do you think, Dawson?
I kind of like the more than struggling
I
secondary.
mean, I actually like them more than. I just go less than because I hate them so much.
I mean, Julian Humphrey.
I'm in last place. I got to think logically here.
Their cornerback situation does not look good, and they lost transfers A.J. Harris to Penn State, Nyland Green to Purdue, and you thought they surely have guys there in that.
Well, in Texas, didn't Texas lose one of their secondary members this week? So in practice or maybe from the game.
That's very possible.
Yeah.
So I like this to be a shootout. I really do. Yep. Jarquez Hunter, the running back of Auburn, is he going to have more than or less than 72.5 rushing yards against that Missouri defense that A&M ran all over?
I say more.
I'm going to say more. Though I wrote down less than. Yeah, less than.
That's quite a bit less than his average. I'm going more than.
Yeah, more.
All right. Yeah, maybe the markets haven't caught up to Missouri's defense. Maybe not being great, given that they haven't played a lot of good teams. Let's talk about Dylan Sampson, the running back of Tennessee, playing against Alabama at home. Is he going to have more than or less than 99.5 rushing yards?
Ooh, that's a lot. I'm going to say less.
I put less.
Man, this is tough. Again, way less than his average, so I'm going more.
It's a big number.
Less. Bama's going to house him.
By the way, if you text the show on the Little Sluggers text line, let me let you know a little bit about them. Age-appropriate baseball fundamental classes in Aggieland, Houston, Austin, Brenham. For kids 2 to 8, sign up for a free trial at kodosports.com. That is kodosports.com. Continue on with the snap.
All righty. Let's talk about Trevor Etienne, the running back of Georgia. Is he going to have more than or less than 67.5 rushing yards against Texas?
More.
He's been a little bit of a disappointment here this year. I'm going less than.
It's such a low number, though. I've got to go more.
Yeah, I think that whole run game for Georgia has been disappointing.
Boy, the way this is going, if Hunter's right,
just wait till Saturday.
He's going to dominate us this week.
I got faith.
All right, here's a kind of a curveball one. I put this on here because it's kind of a big matchup for them. The undefeated Iowa State Cyclones, running back Carson Hansen. Is he going to have more than or less than 62.5 rushing yards against UCF?
Do-wop, baby, more than.
More.
Central Florida, more than.
More.
All right, unanimous.
Ooh, unanimous. I will say that they do kind of have a bit of a committee over there, although he's kind of emerged a little bit.
That's a pretty low number, though.
It is a pretty low number. It's a pretty low number against a team that has not looked good defensively.
Fact.
Every time you say this next guy, I got to go more than. So go ahead.
Luther Bird, and the wide receiver for Missouri. Is he going to have more than or less than 71.5 receiving yards?
More than.
If he's not sitting on the sideline pouting the entire game, I'm going to go more than.
Yeah, I'm going more.
I mean, I got Brady Cook more, so I'm going to take him more because he's a big part of what Brady Cook does.
Yeah, nice little
just needs
positive
one big
correlation.
Yeah,
I like that. Ryan Williams, the wide receiver for Alabama. Is he
Another
gonna have
one.
more than
he's 17.
What?
And another one.
I haven't missed on him yet. I'm going less than again. I know it's crazy.
Number 67.5.
Yeah, I'm going less than on Ryan Williams.
I'm 100% going more than.
Less than.
Ooh.
Yeah. Again, I think Alabama's going to house him. I got more.
He has not hit that number in his last 2 games.
Hey, I've been right both times. Thank you.
Then he's due.
Yeah, so since the Vanderbilt game, he didn't hit that number in the Vanderbilt game.
Yeah.
And he didn't hit that number in the South Carolina game. The wide receiver, Kyron Lacey for LSU, against Arkansas on the road, is he going to have more than or less than 74.5 receiving yards?
These next two are probably the easiest ones for me. He's going to have more.
Yeah, I'm going more than.
I'm going more than, but I'm hesitant because I think they're going to be under duress by that Arkansas D-line. But Lacey.
I'm really big on Arkansas this week, so I'm going to go less than.
I'll say the offensive line for LSU has not given up a sack since the South Carolina game in like week 2.
Yeah. So they're due. See?
Maybe that's it. Maybe they're due. And Ole Miss before last week actually led the nation in sacks, and then they did not have a single sack. Actually, LSU had 6 sacks on Jackson Dart. Pretty crazy. Andrew Armstrong, the wide receiver for Arkansas, is he going to have more than or less than 69.5 receiving yards?
I think this game's a shootout, so I'm saying more.
More than?
More.
Ooh, across the board? All right.
I'm not losing any ground.
Not losing any ground. All right, well, that's it.
3 times we were all unanimous, is that right?
At least 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I got it 4.
Oh. And see, last week, Browning was just whatever we went with, he was going the opposite.
I was the opposite.
It still didn't work out.
Trying to catch up, but it didn't work out.
But you're not in last place, right?
Yeah, but I want to catch Hunter. I like to win things.
It's close. David and Matt are only 4 games behind Hunter, and that can swing in any week.
It could be this week.
It could be. Or we could go the wrong way, and then we're over.
Yeah. So, Prize Picks is fun, because like tonight, the NFL game, or you get the Friday night college games, and you just focus in on one game, pick 2 or 3 players.
Marshall, Georgia State plays tonight.
It's fun.
Aren't we in the stretch of like 18 or 19 days straight of having football? Because Sam played last night, and there was some rando game the night before.
Yeah, it might be even longer than that. It's going to be a beautiful month of football.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Appreciate you. Brad's Running Company time, located at Century Square. Aggie owned and operated specialty running store with the outstanding selection of great shoes. You can get Nike, Brooks, On, Hoka, you name it. They have it all there. They're passionate about running, so if you are into fitness in any way, shape, or form, you like to go walking, you know the right shoe makes all the difference in the world. And at Brad's Running Company, they're going to find the right shoe for you for whatever occasion, whatever situation you find yourself in. They're located again at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. It is the Brazos Running Company. All right, it's time to end the day with Double Days, the final segment of TexAgs Live, brought to you by our friends at Double Dave's Friends. Let's continue on here on the fan show, brought to you by Prize Picks. I think we have a question from Juan on the Little Sluggers text line that came in. Is that correct?
Yes, on the YouTube chat, that Aggie kid is asking, would you rather have to play Texas twice if we had to play them in the SEC championship, or would you rather any other path not having that matchup, including missing the SEC championship?
Beating him twice sounds great.
Oh, no, yeah.
Or just at that opportunity, right, to go somewhere we've never gone before, the SEC championship. But there's so many landmines and games left. Get to November before we start doing these scenarios. You're going to pull your hair out.
Just beat them 3 times.
Ideally, I would love to play them once, beat them, knock them completely out of any conversations that need to be done. And
I'd like to play them 3 times. I'd like to beat them again in the SEC championship. Somehow they backdoor in because they're Texas, and then beat them in the national championship.
By the way, all guests and callers join us on the Boss Firearms Hotline. They provide high-quality firearms and components to their civilian and law enforcement customer base. See what they got for yourself at bossfirearms.com. By the way, can I give this gentleman some props?
Please.
You know I'm going on that hunt coming up soon, bird dog hunt.
Yeah.
He took me shooting yesterday.
Did he really?
Yeah. He told me
I mean, he's already shooting better than Browning.
Well,
You would think somebody with the last name Browning would be able to shoot.
I can shoot. All right, that was a weird day, and you figured out why I was missing everything. I bought a brand new gun I'd never shot with. It was all off. He figured it out. He knows what happened.
Anyways, Nuño out there, man.
Was he knocking him down?
He's got it.
Well, it took me a little bit, but I ended on a pretty good note.
You couldn't have had a better team. Hunter is very.
It's okay for it to take a little bit if it's your first time going out and doing that.
Yeah,
man.
first time I ever shoot a shotgun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And also, he taught me that I'm left eye dominant. I did not know that this whole time, and
you never know until you shoot.
Yeah,
that was the first thing we did, and I said, "Well, you're gonna have to put that on your left shoulder." And he's like, "Whoa!"
It was fun though. It was fun. So thank you very much to Hunter. Let's close out with.
Proud of you for going on a hunt, by the way.
I can't wait, dude.
I want to go
for
on that.
you. Yeah, let's all go.
Why don't we all go?
Let's take him out hog hunting one day. That'd be
I'd
good.
love to do that. Yeah,
that's fun.
Let's close out. What does this game signify? If it signifies anything either way, by the way, we've got about 3 minutes left. Continue.
For me, again, like I said earlier, okay, we're always going to yell at me for this, but look, it's just one of those things where just let's just keep checking boxes.
Yeah.
But it'll also show us that we're not looking ahead to. The whole thing everyone's talking about, the rat poison, all that idea. Just one game at a time. Go in there, take care of business, do what you're supposed to do against an inferior team, beat them,
right.
And then let's move on to the next week. And then the next week and 1 weekend. We, like you said, we as fans, we can look ahead. They cannot. They've got to focus in on this week because, again, it is still an SEC school on the road. We need to go in there and beat them.
We're going to win because our lines are better, right? We're going to harass that Mississippi State quarterback. He's had some games, not against Georgia, but some games with a lot of sacks. We're going to be all right.
What does it signify? Win or lose?
Win big or win small, right?
That's how you look at it, yeah.
That's how I'm looking at this. What this game signifies is that, and this isn't like the end-all be-all, but yet again, it'll be another feather in the cap that Elko's the right guy. Go in there, cover the spread by, I like us by like 20, 30 points, easy. Missouri's a better team than Mississippi State, right?
Yep.
Okay, well, then do your little extrapolation stuff.
If you extrapolate that they played Texas tight for a little bit and played Georgia tight for a little bit, and this one's actually at home for them, not on the road.
Right, and for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's football.
It's football, and they grind down because they don't have the talent. My thought will be it'll be another feather in the cap in the sense that Mike Elko was the right hire to instill the right culture that we need at Texas A&M, because after a bye week and a massive win, right? I don't care if they're actually top 10. They were when we played them. A massive win to be able to stay focused, stay locked in, and go beat an inferior opponent on the road. Then it's just another check for me to go, yeah, Elko was the right dude, man.
Hunter, in about 30 seconds or less, when you look at this team and next week they take on LSU, I think either situation for A&M bodes well, right? If LSU beats Arkansas, that's the team that helps A&M's resume if A&M wins. And if Arkansas wins, that win a couple weeks ago looks a lot better.
Yeah, I have no problem Arkansas continuing to win. Look, from just a pure fan standpoint, an LSU win would jack that game up next week. So I'm good either way.
It would be fire.
It's a win-win, man. It's like watching football last week. We win either way.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. That's going to do it for TexAgs Live. I don't know what happened with the music there. It's all good. We will check out everybody mañana.